Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets are really sucking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell! Give 'em a hand! And let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up.
Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut. And I said I would come back if there was any kind of like news. And I think we're getting now to the end of the road with Max Scherzer, the money that's starting to sort of talked about now with what's going on now. So I'm just going to sort of, I have so many problems with the computer here. But Andy Martino put out a tweet a little while ago. Our buddy Andy. Let me find you his tweet and read this tweet to you. He has not blocked me on the comic book, by the way. Over the last half hour has been a lot of Bauer talks, but I mean a lot of Scherzer talk from Andy and from pretty much a lot of people. But this is 32 minutes ago. Mets talks with Martino. Mets talks with Scherzer ongoing tonight. It's minute to minute, and they're not sure how it will resolve. 30 minutes ago. As reported yesterday, Scherzer himself had been involved in the talks with the Mets, along with Boras. That's Scott Boras. 23 minutes ago. Sources, the Mets have offered Scherzer more than $40 million per year. Length unknown doesn't mean he'll sign there. That's still unclear. 18 minutes ago, the Yankees are not involved on Scherzer. So you have a situation now. The fact that the money is leaking out. means we're getting close to the end of resolving this now. Um, but before we get into that, please subscribe to the channel as I'm doing this, and please like the video if you can. We're gonna go for a little bit, so I don't know how when this is gonna resolve itself. But hopefully I don't lose my voice because I went on for 2.5 hours a little while ago. Hopefully I don't lose my voice. Let me say hello to the chat. Hello, S.O. Raw, Kenneth Flood, Nelson Cruz. Ha ha. Let me just read some of the chats. S.O. Rook says, sign the dotted line, Max. Come on, baby. Come on, man. Kenneth Flood, I hate to say this, but it's going to be Bauer all over again. That's not nice, man. Bauer's he's in a lot of trouble out there in California. Hello, Nelson Cruz. Hello again, Mr. Hutt, and fellow Met fans again. SR, going to be justice. This is from SR. Going to be justice if Bauer, led to Mad Max. Los Body Amigos de Fran. Hello from Panama City, Panama. Go Mets. A couple things. Please let me know where you're coming from. I am here in Queens. That's New York City, the hellhole on earth. But I mentioned this earlier that it was probably going to take at least $40 million to get Scherzer here. And the fact that they were willing to go to Bauer for $40 million says a lot. And I think that the thing is that he wants to be on the West Coast, but he did spend a lot of years on the East Coast. And he has said that he wants to win. The Mets are going to spend a lot of money. And I also would say this, that signing Scherzer is very important for the Mets in terms of their credibility. When Omar Minaya took over as general manager back in 2004, the first thing he did was he signed Pedro Martinez. And he basically set the ground rules that the Mets were open for business. They were willing to spend a lot of money to win. They would go the extra mile to sign a major league pitcher. And as you know, Pedro is a Hall of Famer. Scherzer's going to be a Hall of Famer. And we have a situation where the Mets are kind of in a similar spot now where their credibility is on the line. They signed Scherzer. Now, they did a great job. They signed these three players on Friday night. And especially they brought in Starlin Marte. But bringing in Scherzer to pitch alongside DeGrom, it really opens up a lot of stuff for us as Met fans. You bring in a pitcher who's a great pitcher. It's one of the great pitchers of the last 10, 15 years. And he's actually been very underrated because he's not been in big markets. I wouldn't say Washington is a big market, but it's sort of a medium-sized market. And what it does is it changes the perception within the clubhouse. There's no more fun and games. There's no more nonsense. There's no more nonsense going on. So, you want to see the Mets go out of their way and bring in people that are good. I mean, this guy's a great, great pitcher. And he's better than Gausman. He's better than any of these other people that are out there. And he's the best pitcher on the market. He's the biggest name on the market. He's bigger than Correa. He's bigger than Story. He's bigger than Baez. And it really puts him in a different stratosphere. He's a winning pitcher. He's an all-time pitcher. He's a monster on the mound. There's nothing you can't appreciate about him. He's a man. I mean, really, he's a nut. It's a nut job. But he's just a great competitor. And he goes about his business, and he's all about winning. And they've done a very good job, especially on Friday, bringing in all these guys that are good clubhouse guys. Now, I would mention this about Marcus Stroman. At the Mets sign Scherzer, he won't be able to say anything. He won't be able to say anything. All right, let me go through the chat again. Z Subtle says, this Martino is saying Mets expect to lock up Scherzer or Gausman within 24 hours. We'll see. I know they're going to sign. Both of them have been rumored to sign with the Mets in the next or with some team before the December 1st. Again, Scherzer transforms the Mets immediately. That would be incredible. That GOAT medal show, now that we have a DH, it should be a no-brainer. Absolutely. Now, is anybody going to be complaining about not signing Steven? I don't think anybody really complained the Mets didn't sign Steven Matz. It was more interesting to talk about with the owner complaining about it, not signing him, than you know, than anything else. But anyway, Nelson Cruz, DeGrom, and Max bring each a cannon pass on the Met, right? That's so wrong. Even if he fell off a cliff year 3, everything you've mentioned makes him worth it. Well, look what happened with Pedro. They brought in Pedro. He pitched really well in 2005. Mets had no bullpen that year. They had no closers. Braden Looper was a disaster. He was a complete total disaster as a closer. Pedro won 16 games that year. He should have won 20 games. That's how well he pitched for the Mets. And in 2006, he pitched good, but then he burned. He hurt his toe and he hurt his shoulder, and he was just kaput. He was basically kaput, and he was out for like most of 2007. And really, Mets didn't get much after that. From that point forward. But it brought a lot of credibility, because at least with that group of players, with bringing in Beltran, then bringing in Loduca and Delgado the following year, as well as and bringing in Billy Wagner. So he brought in something that you can't when you bring in big players. For instance, to go back a little further, let's brought in a trade for Keith Hernandez. That changed the perception. But when they brought in Gary Carter, they made that trade. That really changed things. So Scherzer kind of is like an in-between kind of thing, because you have a great pitcher here in DeGrom, and you bring in Scherzer here with hopes that this is not a complete team. This team is not done yet, just in terms of where they are as an organization. This GM is just getting started. He's only been on the job 8 days. And within the first week, he's brought in Kana, Escobar, and of course Marte. But Scherzer is the big fish. I mean, he's really the big fish of this offseason. And if they were to bring him in here, it changes the perception of the Mets. People aren't talking about them being cheap anymore. They'll probably complain that they spent too much money. But at this point, the Mets have to do whatever they got to do to be good and to really make a difference, at least the fan base. I know the fan base has been very angry. I mean, I've noticed it more so this year than last year when I was doing the channel starting out. I noticed the Met fan base, especially a lot of the Met fans have been watching my videos, they've been very frustrated. I know a lot of you have been very frustrated, and I think it's been building for a very long time. And I understand the frustration. I live with it myself. But hopefully, with this new ownership, he made promises to get them to win a championship between 3 and 5 years. Okay? This is a guy who's very successful in his business life. And if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And I wholeheartedly believe him. Sandy Alderson's been maligned here for the last few months. I understand that. I understand how people feel about him. But I have a friend who worked with him years ago in San Diego, and he really loved working with him. He was very nice to deal with. Okay, this guy has been a baseball man for 40 years. He has taken 4 teams to the World Series as a general manager. 3 years in a row with the A's and 1 year with the Mets. So this guy knows what he's doing. And he's really the grandfather of Moneyball, to be honest with you. He's the guy that sort of put it into people's heads of having a closer that only pitches 1 inning. He's the general manager of Dennis Eckersley. So this is a guy who's been around the game a long time. He did not do a great job here the first time around because a lot of it had to do with the Wilpons interfering with a lot of stuff. And he's very conservative. This general manager that he has brought in And he didn't do a great job with Mickey Callaway. We can go down the line with the bad decisions that he's made. The thing with Zach Scott, he was the only interim, and he actually has an actual personal problem that most people probably wouldn't have been aware of. But he brought in this guy who's had experience in Epler. Epler has been known to be aggressive, and boy, was he aggressive on Friday. So now here we are. Friday was a bonanza, and this might be the main course. I mean, it was like a bit like appetizers on Friday, and then the main course has sort of taken place maybe tonight. I will go on as long as I can. Hopefully, this is resolved quickly because I was out all day. I streamed before, and there is stuff that I need to do here besides talking about the Mets. But let me get back to some other people in the chat. The Mothman Evolved. Think Max gets signed by the Mets tonight. I hope. I don't want it happening tomorrow because I'm not going to be home tomorrow. I have to work. Morphman, again, I believe truly the Mets will not stop him, Max, even if they do sign him. Well, the talk has been over the last few hours that either they were going to sign Scherzer or Gausman, either one or the other, and they were going to, either pitcher was going to decide by tomorrow, and that they were going to sign another pitcher. Who that other pitcher is, I don't know. The rumor is there's been Jon Gray is out there. Robbie Ray is out there. Also, sort of there's a mystery pitcher, whoever that is. Marcus Stroman is out with the Mets. The Mets are not. The Mets aren't talking to him. They told him that they're not talking to him, and we learned that because Marcus had a meltdown over the last few hours, last day or so, that the Mets have moved on from him. Now if they sign Scherzer, he's gonna shut up pretty quick. So we're gonna find out pretty quickly. Hopefully, I hope tonight. I don't want to have to not be here to talk to you about it. Hello, Pat Cole. Hut, get hyped up. It's happening. Matthew Landau, what's your opinion on Greinke? And should the Mets pursue? Now, we've not heard Greinke. Any discussions with any teams. That might be the mystery pitcher. And he's a little bit of an oddball. I don't know if he can handle it here. This is a guy that's had anxiety problems in the past. So I don't know. And he's a different kind of guy. He might not be as effing weird as Bauer, but he's up there though. He's borderline Hall of Famer, by the way. Borderline. A borderline guy. All right, let's take a quick peek on the side here of Zach Greinke. Cy Young Award winner, 6-time All. When did he win that Cy Young? Let's take a peek. 2009 for the Royals. All right, 2009 American League Cy Young Award winner, 6-time All-Star, 6-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time Silver Slugger winner, 2-time ERA tops. This guy is borderline great pitcher. Borderline. He's never won 20 games. He's very similar. Actually, if you look at his profile, it's very similar to very similar to Mike Mussina to a certain degree, but he's never won 20 games. Interesting. A couple ERA titles, Cy Young. He's got these other things, but never won 20 games. Very interesting. 624 winning percentage. Was with the Houston Nationals last year. He's more of a small, but he did play in LA. Did pitch in LA. Joey, Scherzer is crazy enough to turn down the offer, so I'm not gonna believe it till he actually signs. Okay, I'm in. That is true. I don't think Greinke's not a bad guy. He's just a different kind of guy. I think that's the best way to describe him. He's not a bad guy. He's not Bauer by any stretch of the imagination, but he is where the buses don't go. So let's see. Ernie Labar, one of the Ernies has returned to the nest. Greinke is done. Okay, let's take a look. So Greinke is 11-6 last year. Near at 4.16. Pitched 171 innings. Gave up a lot of home runs, but he's in a little ballpark down in Houston. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say he was done. 2 years removed from 18 games. He's 37 years old. Free agent. Hasn't won a World Series, though. Has not won a World Series. Yeah, he's too much of an oddball. Yeah, I don't think he can handle it here. This is a little different in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is very laid back, especially when it comes to that team. And here's Joel Sherman throwing cold water on us again. You read his tweet just posted. Hate to be Scrooge for Mets fans, but worth remembering that they strongly believe they had Bauer. But Bauer was a fucking weirdo. Okay, he's a fucking weirdo, and we saw he's a rapist. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I feel sorry for the person that he did what he did to. They had Bauer, and he pivoted to Southern California province to take less with Dodgers last year. Last week, New York Mets thought they had Mats, and he infuriated Cohen by going to the Cardinals. Mets have to remain leery. It's a long thread. What a pain. You got to write all this shit that they are being used as a stalking horse. I sense they think Scherzer is serious about them, but again, they sense seriousness from Bauer, Mats. He just goes on and on complaining about the Mets. Jack Ramsey. Interesting. He posted this. The Mets believe they have a legit shot at landing a future Hall of Fame starter. Max Scherzer ownership is pushing hard for the move. The Mets are really, whatever happens in this situation, they're trying very hard to get this team to be better. They tried hard to get Bauer in here. Now, Bauer was a mistake, and he would have been a big mistake. Bauer would have been a mistake, and I said that last year. Scherzer is a different animal in that Scherzer is a Hall of Famer. And he's up there with, over the last 10 years, he's up there with Verlander and Clayton Kershaw is some of the great, and DeGrom is some of the great pitchers. He's a greater pitcher than DeGrom, but he's up there with some of the great pitchers of all time. At least over the last 25 years, he's up with Pedro. He's up there with Verlander and Schilling and Clemens. So he's up there in terms of quality. You're going to get a great effort from him. He's tough on the mound. He's mean. You got a mean streak in him. And he doesn't care who's mean to. Z Subtle, again, Mets should be aiming hard and past their prime vets like Cueto and Greinke. And here's the thing about Scherzer. Seeing some numbers earlier tonight before the first live stream, it seemed like he's able to sort of spot his fastball. When he needs to throw hard, he throws hard. So he doesn't throw hard on every pitch like he used to. So it's a little bit better. So he says this again, Cueto, somebody mentioned Johnny Cueto earlier. And the bottom line is Cueto is just, the Mets are in a different position. They don't need to bring in a guy that's kind of past, way past his prime. He's over the hill. He's coming, he had a good year, but he's past his prime. And same thing with Greinke. Greinke's at the end of the line. He's a guy you give a 1-year deal to. But boy, they get Scherzer. Changes a lot of stuff here. A hell of a lot of things here. And then we sort of have to move on, see if they can get another bat in here. Either it be Baez or whomever. A couple of things that happened today, as an aside, as we wait a little. We're going to be on this for a little bit. Hopefully we have some great news. All right. It's from Andy Martinez. Scherzer is the subject of much speculation regarding geographical preference. So for what it's worth, he spent nearly $10 million on a home in Jupiter, Florida. Breezy commute to Port St. Lucie. Let's see what Jupiter is. Jupiter, Florida, if you don't mind. Now, please like this video if you haven't already and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. We will be going on for a bit, and hopefully, you like my sound, you like what I'm doing, and yada yada yada. Let's take a look, see what Jupiter is. Jupiter, Florida. I'm going to just try a different starting point. Port St. Lucie to Jupiter, Florida. A half-hour drive. So that's not bad. That is not bad. If, for instance, Scherzer wants to go and play for one of these California teams, he's going to have to train in Arizona for spring training. By the way, interestingly enough, that's only a half-hour drive. From Matthew Landau, Gausman to Jays more than likely. I've heard that too. The Jays are in on all the players. I mean, all the players that are big players, they're in on. I wonder how disappointed they were that they lost Simeon. They nurtured him for a year, and now he's gone. Basically, got out of here, got out of Dodge, and went to Texas. No taxes down there, so he went from a place that is everything's restricted there. There's a tyranny up there to Texas. you know, interestingly enough. But then again, I live in a tyranny up here, but that's besides the point. But that's besides the point. But Gausman, I'm not big on Gausman because I think he's been a mediocre pitcher up until this past season. So, it's not a situation where I feel like the Mets are losing out if Gausman leaves and they sign Scherzer. That's an upgrade. I don't think Gausman is like an upgrade for the Mets rotation. He replaces Stroman, and that's not saying much. But we don't have to worry about Stroman now. Stroman's done. He's done with the Mets, thankfully. Thankfully, he's done. Gone. Out of here. Skadooshed himself out of here. And skadooshed himself so badly that he doesn't even, the Mets didn't even want to talk to him. Yeah, and he's angry beyond belief. All right, this is from Joel Sherman. Thank you, Matthew Landau. Kevin Gausman and the Blue Jays are in agreement on a deal. John Morrissey just first reported it. It was close. What the hell is this? He put the wrong name in there. What a dope. I hear it is 5 years, $110 million. Interesting. Is that $22 million a year? Let's take a peek. Let me get my old calculator out on the side. That's $22 million. Wow. So Gausman has gone to the Blue Jays. That's okay. I mean, I'm not a big fan of his, so it's not. I didn't know much about him. Ken Rosenthal confirmed. John Heyman confirmed. They said that Gausman was going to sign soon. So it's either. So they said the people have been saying it's either Gausman or it's Scherzer. So now that Gausman has gone over to the Blue Jays, the Mets are going to be very hard on Scherzer now. It's really coming down to the Mets and the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, I would think. Interesting. I don't know what to think of that. The Blue Jays are a really good team. Ernie LeBar, the Jays got scammed big time. I don't know about that, but I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Wow. Here's from an account called Barry Schlugo, and he's a sports columnist at the Washington Post, which is interesting to put out there because obviously Scherzer played in Washington all these years. So he has sources. There are some MLB execs guessing the favorite to Max Scherzer is, get this, the Mets. And he's definitely getting 3 years and possibly 4 years. Holy shit. The Mets would give him 4 years? So he's probably talking about, so say for instance, they give him $42 million. For 4 years, it's $168 million. Kenneth Flood with his positivity. So we might have lost out on Gausman, and we may lose out on Scherzer. Positivity. Ugh. Positivity in baseball. Ernie LaBar says, Hut, he couldn't win in the AL East. All right, you got to tell me who he is. Because we're talking about two different players, and I don't know which one you're talking about. Migs 2682. So who's the next pitcher, assuming we land Scherzer, Gray, or Barv? That's a good question. Because Robbie Ray is still out there. Robbie Ray is still out there. So I don't know. It could be Robbie Ray, and the Mets give. Imagine they sign both of them. So now that Gausman's got this contract, 5 years for 110 million. Now he's 30 years old. So they said he was going to decide before December 1st. He's got a 5-year, $110 million contract, and he'll be 35 at the end of it. That's a good job. That's a good life if you can get it. I can tell you that. So I was not big on him. He was the least of the guys that are out there that I was high on. I was actually higher on Jon Gray, to be honest with you. And Robbie Ray, he could be the mystery pitcher. So now they'd have to give it the qualifying or the draft pick to the Blue Jays. And here's the thing about Gausman going to the Blue Jays. They didn't have to give up a pick to sign him because Gausman had taken the qualifying offer last year from the Giants. So that's interesting. So he went to Toronto. A lot of names floating around. And also, I want to mention there's a story going out there that the Rangers, even though they signed Simeon, they're still in on the other shortstops, in particular Seager and Trevor Story. So those guys, and even Correa too. Who's this guy? Robert Brender, got a YouTube channel. XM Sports. The Mets are operating like the richest team in baseball. It's almost hard to believe, but that's absolutely right. Migs 2682. Stroh won't come here. He'll talk smack for years for being second choice if he comes back. Let me tell you something. If Stroman gets signed, the rumor was a little while ago that the Cardinals were going to sign him. If he leaves, and he's going to leave now, but if they don't sign Scherzer and they sign Jon Gray, whatever, this guy will not stop complaining about the Mets for years. It's almost like he'll need to get into therapy. He might need therapy now. I would not, let's see. What's this here? That's an interesting thing about Gausman. I would not have given him that money. That's a lot of money for a guy that's, it's had 1 year. Let's see. I don't see anything else. Apparently, the Mets were prepared to offer Gausman. They were prepared to give him a top offer to Gausman to land him. I don't know what happened with that. Sorry for the silence. Just checking out my Twitter feed. But in the meanwhile, please subscribe. And if you're coming in to the channel and you've never been here before and you want to participate in the chat, just subscribe and then ask me anything. Say. So this is turned into an interesting night. So it was 5 years for 110 million. Okay. All right. Here's something from Andy. High stakes rotation game Mets are playing. I've heard from two sources Gausman is getting close somewhere. At John Morrissey reporting momentum with Toronto. Sense of momentum on Jon Gray's free agency as well. Mets going hard at the Scherzer, as you know. So Jon Gray could sign by Monday too. or if not Tuesday. Here's the thing: they got to get these physicals in before Tuesday. So a lot of this stuff is sort of sitting out there. But I would expect that Jon Gray is probably going to be signed soon too in this situation. But what an amazing! This could be some night. You just got to wait a little bit. So we'll be on for a little bit, and like I said, and we're gonna just talk about um, Scherzer. I guess there's really nothing more to talk about, to be honest with you. I mean, we can talk about these other things that are going on, but the focus isn't on Scherzer in this live stream. And we could talk about a couple other things. Jeff McNeil's name. I didn't get a chance to do the video on Jeff McNeil. This is kind of taking the focus off of that. Obviously, nobody's talking about Jeff McNeil getting moved. That's for sure. But um, some lunatic is writing to me. She just told me that the Giants were going to sign Gausman. That I'm delusional. Okay. Let me write to her as we're talking here. What a dope. I don't think this is a lady. Some people write to me and they're just completely out of their minds. It's funny sometimes. Uh, Desbo Sevens. Apparently, some teams have contacted the Mets about Jeff McNeil. That's true because they made the deals with these guys on Friday, especially Escobar. Once they once they brought in Escobar and they brought in the outfielders, they're kind of running out of places to play some of these guys. The one thing about the Mets that's a problem is the fact that they have guys that play here and they don't play in the position that they played in the minor leagues. Dom Smith is a first baseman. He plays the outfield. Jeff McNeil, I don't know what Jeff is. He's the third baseman, second baseman. He doesn't really have a position. J.D. Davis came up as a third baseman, but he can't play third. In 2019, they had him in the outfield. This past year, they had him at third base. You can't have all these guys playing out of position. Brandon Nimmo, he did a very good job in center field this past year, but he's a corner outfielder, a left fielder, a right fielder. He's not a center fielder. He did a good job this year because the Mets did a really good job with the defense. A big difference between this front office and the past front office, they really push hard on the analytics. Are you kidding me? Says trade McNeil for Means. No, that's not enough for John Means, and the way the Baltimore Orioles are going, it doesn't seem like they're in any rush to rebuild that ball club. So that trade makes zero sense in any way whatsoever. Somebody mentioned it earlier. It makes no sense. The Mets should trade Jeff McNeil for prospects. This team is desperate for depth. They have no depth pieces. This is why they signed the 3 veterans on Friday. This is why they're gonna hopefully sign Scherzer tonight or tomorrow. They cannot, under any circumstances, trade Jeff McNeil and expect to get somebody like John Means. That's not going to happen. And the Orioles are not going to want just him. He's got 3 years left on a contract. They're not going to start paying him arbitration numbers. They're going to want somebody. They're going to want somebody that is a big prospect. They're going to want Alvarez. They're going to want Beatty. The Mets cannot make any trades for any veterans to where they have to trade any of their prospects. Those days are over with. The Mets are not going to do that now. That is not going to happen. Okay, so don't even think of that like that. What the Mets are going to have to do and try to figure out what to do is bring in bad contracts as well as bring in prospects. Or you trade guys like Jeff McNeil, Dom Smith, and J.D. Davis for prospects. J.D. Davis doesn't have a position here. With Robinson Cano coming back and the acquisitions they made on Friday, J.D. Davis's time here is finished. I would expect trades. I expect these guys to start making trades. From Michael, hey Hud, I think Scherzer is doing what Bauer did to us and drive his price up. Bauer took less money to go to the Dodgers than to sign with the Mets. The Mets gave him a better offer. You know, if that happens, it happens. I'm not going to worry about it. The Mets have to do what they have to do. Don't worry about what the motivations of the player is. The player is meant to get as much money as they can get. This is his last big contract. You know. Okay, let's take a look at the Blue Jays rotation now. Raul, Berrios, Gausman, and Manoah. Interesting. So there was talk that Gausman was probably going to go to the Blue Jays. We've been hearing that for the last for most of the day anyway. That he was going to pick some place and that the Blue Jays were in front. So I mean that's not really a surprise. You know, I'll tell you what. I don't care. The Morph Man said this is going to be a bad night. This is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun talking about this stuff. I don't know about you. I love talking about this stuff. From Ernie Labar, Jays are paying Gausman $22 million a year for a sub 500 record and ERA over 4. I agree with you. His numbers are horrible. I can't believe he got that kind of money. He's not that good. He had one really good year, and I understand the Giants 107 games, but I would not have done that. You're going to spend a lot of money. You spend it on a guy that's a great player. So you spend a little bit more than you would have, maybe double than what you would have if it was, Let me see. Let me just take a look at him. Don't mind. So he went 14-6, made 33 starts. Now, the one thing that I'll say is that he is durable. He does pitch a lot of innings. At least for, I guess, a number 4 or 5. He's a 4 starter, He had a high strikeout total this year. But usually it's not very high. Let's take a look. He pitched in Baltimore. It's nothing special. I mean, with Baltimore, he was 39-51. I don't remember him pitching. He pitched in Atlanta. I don't remember him pitching in Atlanta. 8-10 in Atlanta, 26 games. Pitched in Cincinnati. In 2019, we'll go a little bit back. 2019, he went 3-9 with the Braves and the Reds. Pitched 31 games, started 17, 102 innings, 113 hits, 65 runs, earned runs, 15 home runs, 114 strikeouts. Wow. That is not great. It's not great. This past year, he finished 6th in the Cy Young Award voting. He was 21st in the MVP voting. From Todd Licata, Gausman had a great first half before the crackdown. That's a risk. Well, yeah, I'm not big on it. Just looking at his numbers, he doesn't really scare me. He's a 4th starter. He's a 4th starter, in my view. And Baseball Reference says he's going to go 10-8. If he's going to go 10-8, he's not worth it. I know he had a high wins above replacement, but he doesn't do it for me. That's for sure. From Laugh Out Loud, I thought it glitched. I left for a little bit after the first stream and got mad only to find you end it. I did end it. From Joel Sherman, Gausman was the Mets' strongest free agent starting pitcher fallback. They do not land Scherzer. He's now off the board. The Mets are pushing hard to make Scherzer happen. They went from no shot to in the game. It is going to be a fascinating 24 hours. Please don't let it be 24 hours. Let's have a resolution tonight. From Andy Martino, Texas is one of the teams in on Jon Gray, another pitcher with whom the Mets have talked about. From John Heyman. Mets have made a big push to try to land Max Scherzer. They came in as a big underdog and at least appear to be in the ball game with a big offer. The Dodgers, Giants, Angels also have been in. Scherzer is mulling, which means he's thinking about it. Decision either tonight or early tomorrow. Please be tonight. Please, please, please. If the Mets sign Scherzer, and I have to go, I have to do a video in the morning. They sign him after the live. Please let it happen tonight. Please. Z Subtle. Pitcher's record doesn't matter. DeGrom's, that is true. But if you look at his record, it's gotten better over the last 2 years, 3 years. In terms of the winning percentage. But Gausman being that way under 500 and his wins above replacement is not very high. He's not a very good pitcher. From Michael, Hut, I would check to see if Scherzer posts a team branded merchandise on his personal store. That what Bauer did, what an asshole he did that. Remember that? Can you believe that he did that? That asshole. That guy was an asshole. Posted Met merchandise on his website, and then he jerks the Mets around and us around, and he signs with the effing Dodgers. Also from Michael, what I wonder what DeGrom is thinking right now. You know, I don't know. He's probably excited. He's probably thinking two things. One, he's excited that the Mets are going to get somebody big, and two, he's probably thinking, I better stay healthy. You know, I better stay healthy. Because if I don't stay healthy, I won't get a big contract like Scherzer got. Those are the two things he's thinking. I better be healthy for 2022. And they brought in one of the best pitchers in the history of the game in here. Right. He's thinking two things. You know, this team has a chance to win, and two, he has a chance to make even more money than he's got right now from the Mets or from any team. All right. This is from the Munchkin, Ken Rosenthal. He's a short guy. Rangers strongly in mix for free agent right-hander Jon Gray. Sources tell the Athletic. I think he'll probably go to Texas. I think he's probably going to go to Texas. He's from Texas. You know, I don't think he's going to come here. I can't imagine him being here. Be interesting what kind of deal he gets. Migs 2682. DeGrom is excited since Noah's gone and Matz didn't return and Wheeler left a while ago and Harvey fell apart. You know, I don't want to talk about Wheeler, but the Mets should not have let him go. The ownership, the past ownership screwed that up. They really screwed that up. And I always liked Zach Wheeler. I always loved his arm. I always thought that once he learned how to control the game, once he learned how to throw strikes, he was going to be a big pitcher, and he turned into that. He should have won the Cy Young this year. There was no reason for him not to have won it. I know that pitcher in Milwaukee pitched pretty good, but Zach had a really good year. He's more consistent. And he's pitched really well since 2019. From Mike, I don't want Gray. I want Rodon or Ray. Rodon was hurt. He was hurt a little bit last year, and that's why I guess he didn't get that qualifying offer. I would mention about the Met offense. They did hit a little bit better this past year than they have in the past. His numbers, in terms of the winning percentage, has gotten much better the last year or two. From Z Sutter, remember Brody's? Well, Brody was a jerk. He didn't know what the hell he was doing, Brody. Brody didn't know what he was doing. How do you fire Edgardo Alfonso? You know, and as a manager in the minor leagues, and not think that people would think he's an idiot. You know, this guy is like Met royalty, and you fire him after the Brooklyn Cyclones won a championship. You know, the Cyclones won a championship and the last year of the New York Penn League, and he fired him. It made no sense. Hold on, I need a drink. Look. So Brody was a disaster as a general manager. He didn't know what he was doing, quite frankly. And here's a retweet from Natalie Alonso from MLB.com, I guess. If the Mets signed Max Scherzer, they would avoid having to face him. Considering his stats in 26 career games against the Queens Ball Club, you could argue that that's a good enough reason for them to take him off the market. Remember, he did pitch a no hitter at Citi Field the day before the last day of the season 2015 against the Mets. Let's see. This is from Mark Feinsand. Rangers and Angels appear to be two teams making a push for Jon Gray. Rangers' interest has been there for a while. Well, interesting. Sorry about the sounds. Just checking my phone. Oh, Bob Knight. Does he ever get anything right? What do you think you've been talking about? Laugh out loud. What do you think you've been talking about the last few minutes? From Bob Nightingale, he's such a dope. The Mets had Kevin Gausman on the radar, but they're focused now squarely on Max Scherzer, and certainly they had the resource to outbid anyone and everyone to get it done. Holy shit, that's not going to happen. Oh my God, keep the Mets out of your mouth. Don't even talk about them. This guy never gets anything right. He's such a dope. Laugh out loud. Why are you screaming in the chat? You don't have to use all caps. But we'll see. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, so please like this video if you haven't already. I should probably put I was gonna do probably should put the link into the baseball hut too, I think. And have you go in there, subscribe. I was gonna do a video on Jeff McNeil, but this thing with Scherzer is just too big. Too big to go on. Brandel, same should be said for Buster Olney. He's always talking about crap about. Let me tell you something, Brandel. What did he say about George Springer? That if the Mets didn't sign him, he'd sell his family farm. And nobody called him out on it. It's like, All right, I'm going to put the link into the chat of the Baseball Hut too. So please check that out. Randy Williams, he's using us. All right, if you're going to use it, you have to write down who's who. You can't say he's using us. You got to put the person's name. I know it's probably Scherzer, but I am not assuming that. So please, if you're writing about a specific player, please write their full name down. Not their full name, but at least their last name or their nickname. Because then it confuses me and it confuses the chat about who you're talking about. And meanwhile, please like the video. So we're gonna go on for as long as I can. Oh, a lot of shows are on tonight, boy. I'm like the little channel. I'm the little channel right now. When I realized, Scherzer, okay. I kind of figured you, please, if you're gonna mention some name of a channel, some name of a player, you got to put the player's name. See, Robbie Hyde's on, Wardy's on, Mofo's on, but really, this is the channel you want to watch. This is the channel you want to watch. This is really the channel you want to watch because I know the game. I know the Mets history. I didn't just show up. And I've been doing videos on baseball for 3 years on YouTube. From Jason Stark. Remember that the Blue Jays won more games this year than the team that won the World Series and already had a dynamic position play core in place. They now have Gausman, Barrios, Manoah, and Pearson under control through at least 2026, plus Real through 2023. They're going to be tough. They're going to be. They're going to win that. They're going to have a chance to win that division. The Blue Jays are going to be very difficult to deal with. I can tell you that right now. And I don't know what the hell the Yankees are doing. Um, I don't know what the Yankees are doing. The Blue Jays beat the hell out of the Yankees this past year at times, and the Yankees need a shortstop in the worst way, and they're not in on any of these players that are shortstops. None of them. It's so strange not seeing the Yankees sign any big players, and here in New York, nobody's really talking much about them. Yes, Scott Boras is Max Scherzer's um, agent. I would mention that about Bauer. Bauer doesn't really have an agent. He has what's her name? Rachel Lupa. He's got her. That's all he has. Or that's who he had. She was like the front man. Michael says Cohen should give Scherzer 2% of his company. Is he crazy? Are you crazy? Eddie Wilkes. Boris needs to quit being an agent. I don't understand that, Eddie. What do you mean by that? Why does he need to quit as an agent? He seems like he's doing a pretty good job. Seems like he's doing a great job because he's bringing in all this money. He's probably going to get $40 million from the Mets to sign Scherzer. So, let's see. All right, here's from Andy Martino. The Mets offered Kevin Gausman more than the 5 years, $110 million he accepted in Toronto, per source. He probably didn't want to deal with the pressure here. Also, Seattle, also from Andy. Seattle just lost on Gausman and are still looking for starting pitching. I wonder if Scherzer would go to Seattle. Imagine if he went there. Holy shit. That would change that whole division. But we haven't heard them at all with them. S.O. Rock. Lupa is a defense. Yeah, right. And so am I, for that matter. Interesting. So the Mets offered Gausman more money, and he didn't. He went to Toronto. There's no pressure in Toronto. There's real pressure here. There's a real microscope here. In Toronto, there's no pressure. Other than having to deal with the tyranny of people up there, they'll treat him like a god. They won't treat Gausman like a god here. He knows the deal here in New York. If you're a god, you want to come here if you're a player. If you're not a god, you don't want to come here. Let's be honest. Now, please like this video if you haven't already. And if you're watching our replay, please leave comments in the comments section. Brandel says Stroman is still an option, Randy. No, he's not. Because the Mets told him that he wasn't. And would the Mets want him after he basically went on this rant saying that the Mets were a racist team for not wanting to talk to him? I don't think that. Just checking out my feed. It's funny, people still talking about Bauer. Just get over it. He's done with. He's never going to pitch in the major leagues again. Never going to pitch in the majors again. He's pretty much done. Done. Skadoosh. Never to be seen again. Again. Somebody posted a picture of Mr. Met with 2 eye calls. That's funny. And another thing is that Baez is probably going to sign too. They're in on Baez, the Rangers, by the way. I guess the hat put him at second. I sort of forgot about him. But he's another guy that's sort of sitting out there too. He's probably going to sign before the first. All right, this is from Jack Ramsey. New York and Seattle spent the second halves of their days on other ventures. The Mets with Scherzer and Seattle with infield market. One thing, going to go after one of these shortstops. Gausman camp wanted a deal yesterday. Really? So urgency was there. Toronto crept back in and stole both of their lunches. Not great for Epler or Dipoto. Now, I would point out, there's no reason to fall over yourself for freaking Kevin Gausman. You know. Here's again from Jack Ramsey. How it sounds as the day went on, the Mets got further along with Scherzer than initially thought they would. After the Simeon deal, Seattle started to focus more on Story before someone could snatch him. As this happened, Gausman and company touched base with Toronto again. So it seems like the Mets kind of cooled on Stroman. I mean on Stroman on Gausman, and they got excited about Scherzer. From Michael, face reveal of Mets land Scherzer in the next out. From me, I don't think so. Not from me. Maybe from you, Michael. Not from me. That's for damn sure. You'll be begging me to turn the camera off. From Michael, that the courtship has been tense this weekend with Steve Cohen, Boris, and families involved in talks. As reported earlier, they made an historic offer. Now they simply await his decision from Martin. Oh, interesting. I gotta check this out. I gotta check do the comic book cut. Let me read this to you. All right. It's from Andy. On Mets and Scherzer, the courtship has been intense this weekend with Steve Cohen, Boris, and families involved in talks. They said that Scherzer was involved. They were that he was very much involved in these talks, and families involved in talks. I guess he means the Cohen family because they're very involved with the Mets. They love the Mets. As reported earlier, they've made a historic offer. Now they simply await his decision. Wow, it's a tough decision because once he crosses that line to being here, once he crosses that line, you know, then we're gonna have something to talk about here. From Coolio Top Notch. Hi, Coolio. How you doing? One of my subs from the comic book hut. How you doing? Met should pick up Bauer at a discount. They should. Send him into rehab or prison. I was reading some stuff on him that some of the police officers out there thinks that he should have been taken into custody. That what happened out there was so bad with him that he should have been taken into custody. And I think because of his status as a Dodger and as a celebrity, that's why that he's not gone into jail. So interestingly enough, that you mentioned Bauer. That's something I read during the summer that they were investigating, but it's like what's going on out there? Something should have happened. No, Bauer got framed. Well, apparently, just to sort of quickly run down, the word is that the woman, as soon as she had this sort of relations with him, she went and told on him right away. This wasn't something that was kept secret. She started blabbing about it right away. Well, thank you, Coolio. I like to take credit where credit is due. Coolio, as you know, my reputation, I zero in on these people right away. You really hit the nail on the head about Bauer way before everyone else did, Hut. I hit the nail on the head with everybody, if you know what I mean, like with Ethan Van Sciver and Richie and all the rest. I don't have too many abilities. I mean, I have my artistic ability. You need to keep an eye on that, Coolio. Uh, eh, reminds me of that. This Coolio says this reminds me about that Herman and that chalet, that abyss, that dark hole in New Jersey. From hello, James Luongo. Hope Mets aren't getting played. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. We will see. But I'm good at sort of nailing these things, picking it, and I don't know how I'm able to do it. It just sort of happens. I kind of figured out Richie was a weirdo and Little Caesar, and I was the only one on Bauer of the YouTubers. I said he was fucking weird. He was fucking weird, and I was 100% right. And I'm glad I was 100% right, because then look what happened. And I was also right about Stroman. I said Stroman was something about him, um, and he's been acting like a fool. Todd Licata, no Verlander talk. Well, Verlander re-signed with the Astros. He got a 2-year deal with the Astros, so he's nothing to talk about there. But it's interesting that the Scherzer family and the Cohen family are involved in these talks. Say the thing about Scherzer. The thing about Scherzer, he's a serious guy. So I don't think he's using the Mets in terms of what Bauer did. Bauer's he's just a fucking weirdo. I think he's a jerk off. Stroman's a serious player. He's extremely studious, extremely detailed. He's a monster on the mound. He's not going to go to all this trouble talking to the Mets and then jerk them around. And then at the last minute, he says, "You know what? I don't want to. I'm not coming back. I'm not coming here." He's not going to do what Bauer did. I can't imagine him doing that. I'd be very surprised. So I really don't think that Scherzer is using anybody to hurt the Mets. I just can't imagine him doing that. Eddie Wilkes, remember the time that Bauer got mad for being pulled and threw the ball with the center field fence? That happened in 2019 in Kansas City. And his manager, Terry Francona, went out there to take the ball from him, and he threw the ball into center field. And obviously, that became the last game that he started for the Indians. That was the last start for the Indians, was that start. Once he did that, once that ball was out, and they were not happy with him for a while anyway, because obviously this guy's had Bowers had a lot of problems. He's had problems since he was a kid with getting along with people. And he tries to make himself out to be a victim, and he's not anything. He's just a fucking weirdo. There are people you come across that are just fucking weird. You know. Let me just check something. This is from John Morrissey. The Mets have made Max Scherzer a multi-year offer at $40 million per season, the source confirms. And some versions discuss total value would be $120 million over 3 years. At Martino, New York City, NYC was first to report $40 million figure per annual. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable contract. I mentioned that it was probably going to take that. I mean, with his reputation as a Hall of Fame pitcher, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, this guy is top notch. He is top notch. He's a great pitcher. And I'm not just saying, he is about as good as it gets. The Mets get him, boy, oh boy. They put themselves in a good position going forward, to be honest with you. It'll be interesting to see where this takes them. That'd be very, very interesting. So please like this video along the way. From Stephen Bunting. Remember that announcer in Washington made that remark about Stroman's do-rag? Stroman made a big deal about it, and the whole thing, it was just stupid. Everything that Stroman does is a joke. He's very thin skinned. It was Arizona, whatever. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. It was Arizona. It was Bob Brenly. All right. Here's from Robert Murray. Free agent pitcher Jon Gray in agreement on a deal with the Texas Rangers, according to a source familiar with the situation. That doesn't surprise me with Jon Gray, because they've been talk that he was probably going to go to Texas anyway. That doesn't surprise me at all. You know, so that doesn't surprise me at one bit. So he's off the board, gone, scratch. Gausman, scratch. So I mean, I was not a big fan of Jon Gray. Now I wonder if they lose out on Max Scherzer just for this instance, they'll pivot to Robbie Ray, because we haven't heard any team. The Mets would have to probably give up their draft pick, but they'll begin a draft pick back with the Michael Conforto signing with another team. Uh, yeah, I saw that Eddie Wilkes. Eddie Wilkes says somebody tagged him on Twitter saying that the Mets didn't want to sign him because it's just ridiculous. And I know, and he liked it. He's a complete idiot. He's a complete moron, a complete total SJW of the major order. Very paranoid, very uptight, very thin skinned. That goes without saying with him. He's extremely thin skinned. We know that for for sure. you know that we do know. But so please like this video, and if you're coming through, if you want to participate in the chat, I think I had the chat on. Hold on a second. You want to participate in the chat? Just see if I have it on. I did. I have it on. Let's see. Yeah, Stroman is a piece of work, and it's good that Mets told him that they weren't going to do anything with him. It's a smart move, you know, very smart move. But we'll see what happens. Where he's going to go. I mean, I've heard the Cardinals with Stroman, but him the way he's acting is not very professional. Extremely unprofessional the way he's acting. Just in terms of the way he's acting like a fool about the Mets. He shouldn't be acting the way he is. But it doesn't surprise me considering his reputation. It's not a very good reputation, quite frankly. Um, not a very good reputation. Just checking my feed out. Now, please, again, if you're watching a replay, just leave a comment. I was not expecting really to come back on. I was hoping to have the whole night. See, this is the thing. I want to be able to talk about a Scherzer, but I don't want to wear myself down to the ground because I do a lot of running around on the weekend. But hopefully we'll get something pretty soon the next little bit. I really don't want to be in a situation where I'm working and the news breaks on Scherzer. So, Todd Lacoste, Stroman invites the trolls, engaging with all of them. Yeah, it sounds very familiar to what I do on the on the other channel. That's for sure. That's for sure. Okay. Couple things on the side here. Jeff McNeil's been discussed in trade discussion. Some things came out. A report came out earlier today. Obviously, with the signings of Kanya, Marte, and Escobar, they're running kind of out of room in terms of these other guys. J.D. Davis is a disaster. Dom Smith is a disaster. Jeff McNeil is a real mystery what happened with him this past season. And quite frankly, the Mets are going to have to figure out what to do with them, especially if they bring in another middle infielder, whether they bring back Baez or they sign someone else. Say, for instance, Trevor Story. Um, let's see. See an update. Let's take a peek. Nope, no update. Yeah, so Jon Gray's gone to the Rangers. That's not really a surprise, to be honest with you. That's not a surprise at all. So he's gone. Gausman is gone. The Met pitching staff is not very good. I mean, I got to be honest with you. The Met starting staff's not very good. Like, for instance, they have DeGrom. We don't know about him. Syndergaard's gone. Carrasco was a disaster. Stroman is gone. Peterson is up and down. Um, it doesn't really. McGill is not. He's not ready to pitch a full season. Doesn't have enough innings on his arm in the minor leagues and the major leagues. David Peterson was hurt. They lost Lucchesi from all next year because of the Tommy John surgery. He was he looked pretty good, and then he got hurt. It was so disappointing that he got hurt. Ernie LeBar, Stroman needs to go to the left coast where he can be woke. He can be woke here too, But, so the Met starting staff is not very good. And Carrasco, I don't think he has much left, to be honest with you. That trade's turned out to be really a disaster for both teams, Jimenez played for the Indians for a while. They sent him down to a point where they had to start Rosario. Lindor played terribly until September. And Carrasco had done nothing for the Mets. Done nothing. So it's a very a disappointing trade. I was not for the trade at the time. And I certainly wasn't for this whole thing of giving him a long-term deal. A lot more confirmation on the Rangers. All right, here's what Jon Gray got. Jon Gray, the Texas Rangers and Jon Gray are in agreement on a 4-year, $56 million contract. Wow. That's $14 million for 4 years. Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute from LOL. Why is nobody talking about the starting two for the Mets? DeGrom opening day and then get the hit with Scherzer Ray. We don't know. Okay. We don't know yet. Now, I haven't read anything about Robbie Ray, and I haven't heard if he was going to sign right away or if he was going to wait after the December 1st at the lockdown. You're going to see a mad rush of these players because a lot of them are probably not going to want to worry about where they're going. Chris Bryant, just to use him as an example, the word is that he's probably going to sign after the lockout, which doesn't shock me. Most of the Boris players are probably going to do. Max is a little bit different because Max is really one of these guys that he goes to his own drummer. So he has a family. He's older. He probably wants to make sure he knows where he's going to pitch next year. Now, like I said earlier in the stream, he lives in Jupiter, which is only a half-hour drive away from Port St. Lucie. So he could be close to home and not have to be on the west, be in Arizona. As more confirmation, Joe Sherman, Jon Gray is in agreement with the Rangers. Mark Feinstein, the Rangers and Jon Gray have agreed to a 4-year, $56 million contract. Hello, Gio. Hello, Richard. Richard says Gausman went to Toronto. That's true. That's what we heard. That's what we've heard the last few, last hour or so. Let's look at this. What a dope. This person that wrote to me on several of my videos saying that Gausman was going to sign with the with the Rangers. I mean with the Giants. Oh, really? Boy, you're digging for tweets. Who cares about Gausman? He's gone. September 22nd, 2014, New York City. Love this city, but I could definitely never live here. Ha ha. Hashtag too great. See, he was never coming here. I was, I'm glad he didn't come here. He's a fourth starter at that, at best. He had a good year, a career year. He got a lot of money, you know. So that wasn't going to happen. I'm glad the Mets didn't do that. That's smart. They got lucky with that situation. Now, sometimes you're better to be lucky than good sometimes. And that's that situation. You're better to be lucky than good. And they got lucky this time with him in particular. From Laugh Out Loud, Baez, Brian Correa, Freeman, Ray, Scherzer, Seager, Story, Kershaw, Cruz, Castellanos, and Suzuki. Is this everybody you want the Mets to get? Too many. Well, here's the thing. Baez, I don't know where he's going yet. I think it's 50-50 that he's here with the Mets. Now, I said with Gausman earlier, it was 70-30 with the Mets, but I didn't realize that the Mets kind of cooled on him in the last 24 hours. I don't know where Correa is going. They said the Tigers kind of cooled on him. They had been talking to Baez. I don't think they want to go to $300 million for him. Freeman, I think, is staying with Atlanta. Ray, I don't know where Ray is going. I don't know where Scherzer's going right just yet. Seager, it's interesting where he's going to go. And Story could go to Seattle, the Tigers. The Rangers are still in on him. Maybe the Mets to play second. I'm going to keep to that. Kershaw should stay in LA. He's probably close to being done. He got a lot of innings on his arms. His arm's not good. Nelson Cruz, I've heard him going back to Seattle. I've heard that. Since the Mets brought in Kana, I don't think they're going to be interested in Castellanos, especially having to pick up the draft pick. And Suzuki, who knows where he's going to go? I haven't seen him. I don't know anything about him. Ernie Labar, bet Jon Gray has a better year than Gausman. Gray just needed to get out of Colorado. Well, everyone needs to get out of Colorado if you're a pitcher. That's for sure. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Now, please like this video if you haven't already. And, of course, subscribe to the Baseball Hut. As we're sort of waiting out to see where Max Scherzer is going to go tonight. So if there's a little more quiet here than usual, understand I'm trying to save my voice. I don't want to have laryngitis in the morning, which might happen. You never know. Let's see. Gausman's gone to Toronto. Jon Gray has gone to... Well, Richard, Jon Gray has signed with the Texas Rangers. He's off the board. By the way, he's gone. So you can't count him now. Scherzer's still there. Ray's still there. Rondon's still there. But here's the thing about Kershaw. How many more years does he have? And he's been injured a lot. He's been injured a lot the last couple of seasons. These great pitchers, they run out of gas after a while. Just looking at some tweets here. Trying to save my voice a little bit. Joel Sherman, Gausman, and Gray were Mets fallbacks. Have not sensed they want to play in Robbie Ray because signing him would mean forfeiting the 14th pick in the draft. If so, lots riding on trying to get Scherzer finalized. Boris also represents two other available starting pitchers, Rodon and Kikuchi. So keep an eye on them because they might be a package deal. It has been mentioned that there's another player out there, another pitcher out there that the Mets have been talking to. Sandy Alcantara signed a Marlins. He signed an extension with the Marlins, 5 years, $56 million. I don't know what to think about that. Yeah, so Jon Gray has gone to the Rangers. Now, who knows where Kershaw's going to go? I mean, Kershaw doesn't have a qualifying offer, and really, the teams that we've heard has been the Texas teams, the Rangers, the Houston. I can see him going to Houston, but he'd be better off just staying in L.A. Seager, I don't know why. I'm shocked that the Yankees aren't interested in Seager. I don't get that. LOL says, I see Mariners making moves with trades, not signings. Yeah, I mean, we've seen Brian connected to them today, but Brian's going to take forever. He's going to take forever to sign um, with any team, to be honest with you. You know, I don't see that really changing much. Let's see what's going on here. Land Gephardt, I've almost crashed like 10 times in this drive because I update my Twitter every 30 seconds to see what about me. Absolutely. Thank God I'm not driving or on the highway. That's for sure. Glad I'm not doing that. Glad I'm not doing that. That's tough to do. When you're driving and you're having to refresh your phone. You know, let's see. From Robert Murray, free agent pitcher Michael Lorenzen and the LA Angels are in agreement on a 1-year deal worth around $7 million, pending physical. Just taking a look at him real quick. He's a bullpen piece. From MiG72682, Gray has a higher ERA outside of Colorado. Yeah. You got to be careful with those guys. Those guys in Colorado, they're all screwed up, And now he's going to Texas. Isn't that like a small ballpark down there? A bit of a bandbox? I guess they figure they get a guy that's a ground ball pitcher to pitch there, I guess. Land, think we're off on other free agent outfields, Castellanos in particular? No, because he has a qualifying offer, and the word has been the Mets don't want to give up a draft pick. They don't want to give up their 14th pick, which I don't blame them. From Mark Malusis on the Ugliest People on TV, he's stating the obvious. It's from WFAN. Getting Scherzer would be a franchise-changing move and an early ownership-defining move. Boy, they better make this move because they will destroy the Mets on WFAN if they don't do this now. They're at the 10-yard line. Let's use a football reference since when I'm watching football, you're watching a YouTube channel about baseball. Let's use a football reference. The Mets are on the 10-yard line when it comes to Max Scherzer. That's basically it. Wow. This would be fun to look at, boy. I don't know why somebody posted a picture of Max Scherzer with a Met uniform on. Why does he look like he's 90 years old? Looks like he's 90 years old in that uniform. Land Gephardt says, what other outfielders are available? Well, Chris Bryant is available. I mean that's really kind of what the Mets would be looking at. As a guy that could play third and play the outfield. That's pretty much it. I think they're pretty much done in the outfield. To be honest with you, uh, Castellanos is he's a DH. I think. I know that they don't. People say that he's sort of a guy that um, can't really play the field. So it's not really. I think that I don't know where he's going to go, but I don't think the Mets don't want to give up the draft pick. I don't blame them. I don't blame them for wanting to give that not wanting to give up that draft pick. The Mets had a bad draft this past year, and the fact is that they need to do a better job with the doing certain things. And one of the things they need to do is rebuild the farm system. The farm system is a mess. Other than these big players, they have the top 5 or 6 guys. They have nothing outside of that. They have nothing under that. And those guys are not close. They're a year or two away. Alvarez is pretty close. He's going to start next year in Double A, I would think, in Binghamton, and then go up to Syracuse after that. I really, I don't think he's going to be here next year, obviously. So they can't move him, and the Mets, so it's not worth giving up a draft pick, especially if you have a team that um doesn't have a deep farm system. They consider the 22nd, 22 out of 30 teams. It's not good. The Mets have always been sort of in the middle. You want to be the top guy, top team in terms of farm systems, but you don't want to be in the bottom. You're okay in the middle with farm systems. You could develop people in the middle. Believe it or not, you could bring in a big talent. They had Jeff McNeil in the middle, Pete Alonso, Dom Smith, on the line. But you don't want to be on the bottom because you're on the bottom. That means you have problems. You have big problems. You know. Hold on, let me just stretch my legs out for a minute. Just give me 1 second. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. I just had to stretch my legs out. I've been sitting in the same position for an hour and a half. What happened to Khalil Lee? Khalil Lee was not ready for the major leagues. Okay, because he cannot hit right now major league pitching. He went back to AAA and he played actually rather well. He's a great defensive player. From Z Subtle, Jorge Castillo, LA Times. The Dodgers are one of 4 or 5 teams in the mix for Max Scherzer, but they're not the favorites at the moment per sources. Sounds he'll definitely get a three-year deal. Who are the other 3 or 4 teams? Who are the 2 or 3 other teams? Because the only teams we've been hearing are the Mets and the Dodgers. I would put Seattle there too. By the way, I could see them swooping and doing something. Uh, Interesting, but I don't see these other teams matching the money. I mean, only the Mets and the Dodgers can match the money. Ernie the bar. Mets need to send Cano off into limbo. He isn't on the. He's worth. Well, they have no choice. Aziz Subtle, Giants, and Angels. That's right. I'm sorry. I forgot. Sorry about that. I forgot. Thank you for correcting me. It's been a long night live streaming, and I didn't write it down. And don't write it down. I don't remember. Who wouldn't? Who from Crush Station Radio? Who wouldn't want Scherzer? I think everybody does. Uh, and the fact the Mets are wanting to offer him $40 million. LOL. Nobody wants Cano. That's just a $20 million drop onto their heads for nothing. Well, it happens. What are you gonna do? It was a bad trade at the time. I felt that way at the time, and it's turned out to be even worse than that because they traded that kid, and it looks like he's starting to turn it around. And unfortunately, that's the situation. Well, they're gonna have to see if he can if he can still play. Then there's no issues with me. Um, you know, I mean that's really if he can still hit, and really it's all about him hitting because you could DH him and play him late in a game and have him be a pinch hitter. If he can do that, then you're fine. But if obviously his defense was shot by the time the Mets got him in 2019, his defense wasn't what it was. Uh, you know, Z Subtle. Only reason the Cano deal happened is because Brody wanted to help Cano get back to New York, and I think he kind of wanted to hope that he would get 3,000 hits with the Mets and get into the Hall of Fame. I think he probably felt that him being in Seattle was a little anonymous out there. But then, as it turned out, first of all, when the Mets picked him up, he was coming off a steroid suspension. He missed 80 games in 2018. Okay, and then the Mets traded Kalelnik, which is insane. Why they did? I don't know why they ever did that. For a guy that is coming off of it. Well, they picked up the clothes. First of all, you stay away from the Mariners. Any kind of move that the Mariners want to make, if you're the New York Mets, you stay the hell far away from them as possible. Like I said, that 4 teams the Mets should historically stay away from going forward. The Mariners, the Indians, the A's, and the Angels. You stay away from those 4 teams. They've gotten burned by all those teams. Well, let's see. Let's see. From John Heyman. Mets seem heartened and hopeful about the prospects of landing Max Scherzer. Wow. Dodgers pessimistic, at least at the moment. Oh, boy. Get ready. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'll put you up, Eddie Wilkes. You're an old subscriber. Land. I think the only teams in for Max are the Mets and the Angels. No way the Mets lose out to the Angels front office. Well, we'll see. Now, please like this video if you haven't already. You want to follow a channel that is from a real New Yorker. I'm not somebody from outside talking about the Mets. And I am a New Yorker, and I love the Mets, and I love talking about it. Matthew Landau. Heyman just reports the same stuff over and over again. Different word. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's like the jumble. He does like a jumble. He uses certain words, pessimistic, optimistic, but he just changes the team names and the players' names. From Eddie Wilkes, sign him Mets. I want to sleep. I agree with you. And I have stuff to do here. Now, the one thing I will say is that this channel takes precedent over my other junk on YouTube. This is not junk, what I do here. This is great stuff that I do here. But this takes precedent over that stuff. And I have a lot of subscribers on my other channel, the Comic Book Hut. And I have quite a bit of subscribers in the Patriot Hut. And this is really what I love to do, is this baseball stuff. Because I could just shoot the breeze with you guys and you guys can participate in the chat, and we can go back and forth and talk about different things and different ideas. But so this kind of takes precedent over really anything I do right now, to be honest with you. And hopefully we'll have some good news. It's now 10 o'clock here. It's after 10 o'clock here at Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be on for a while, but I don't want to be on too much longer. From Michael, waiting for the Pazan report. Mets finalizing deal with veteran right-hander Max Scherzer. Oh, boy. Yeah, imagine that. Here's from Joel Sherman. Get ready. The Mets are making progress with Max Scherzer. Have not heard it is final. Deal might be as much as 4 years if it gets done. Holy shit. Holy shit. Check that out. Imagine that. Hey, this will change everything here. I mean, really. I mean, we sort of joke about this, and they make this move. It sends a real signal to everybody that the Mets are serious. The Mets can land a big player, and other players will see this and they'll want to be here. They did some great stuff on Friday, but bringing this guy in, one of the best pitchers in the game still, um, this would really change everything here. It would change the perception of this team. And even if they were to get a year out of him or 2 years out of a contract, this would be an enormous deal for us as fans, and really for the Mets. This would be something else. From land, I'm a time traveler. He's gonna finalize at 10:32 Eastern Standard Time. Is that tonight or tomorrow? Please don't let it be tomorrow morning. Please, I don't want this to be tomorrow morning. From Aaron, when Scherzer signed with the Nats years ago, the Scherzer family and the Nats connected. The Coens and Max's family are talking with one another. I did mention that earlier. That Andy Martino had mentioned that the Mets, the Coens and the Scherzers were talking to each other. Also, in about 17 minutes, Lamb, we're going to find out if Scherzer's here. Z Subtle, this feels like I think it's getting awfully close. I think once we start hearing about the money, Z Subtle, I think that's kind of a tip off. That something is about to take place. I mean, I think we're getting awfully close now, so it's good. It's all good. Let me just take a look at the Mets schedule for next season, just to cure out if I can find it. What the hell is on here? That's not the schedule. Oh, here we go. So the Mets will be playing the Angels next year. Trying to see. Hold on a second. Yes, the Mets will be playing the American League West next year, and they will be playing the Angels. Somebody mentioned it. Can't find them. In June, they'll be playing them in June, on the road in a 3-game series in June, and then when they play them again. The Mets actually have a better schedule this season, next season, than they did this past season. The schedule, the 2021 was horrendous. But yeah, Eddie Wilkes says this: Stroman is not coming back. The Mets told him. Yeah, they told him that and he revealed the other day. He revealed the other day and got all pissy about it on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, Stroman is done. He's not coming back to the Mets, which is good. He's too much in his own head. Can't have that. We want people that want to win and don't care about politics. Winning takes care of everything. But we're gonna wait this out as long as I can. Land Gephardt. So what are we gonna do at the middle of our rotation, hoping that we get Scherzer? Ah ha ha! Now earlier in the evening, and I mentioned this in the previous live stream that I did at 5:00, that the talk was that the Mets were either gonna get they were either gonna get Gausman or they were gonna get Scherzer, and they were gonna get another pitcher. Who that other pitcher is, I don't know. Who that other pitcher is, I don't know. But there was talk that the Mets were seriously thinking about, um, another pitcher. So I don't know who that other pitcher is, quite frankly. Um, but it is a name that we've not heard. Now, Jon Gray signed with the Rangers a little while ago, so he's off the board in terms of the Mets. So I don't know who the next guy is under that. Now we heard Robbie Ray, but that seemed to have been cool, I guess. Now, if they were to get Robbie Ray, that would be awesome. I mean, really, you know, that would be awesome. So, and the Blue Jays, amazingly enough, they improved their rotation this past year. Uh, and they're going to lose Robbie Ray, the Cy Young Award winner. From Land, no way to get Ray and Scherzer. I don't know. We'll see. But let's just hope that the Mets land Scherzer. They do that, a lot of stuff will sort of fall into place. So we'll see. From Pat Ragazzo, Mets appear to be the favorites to land Max Scherzer over the Dodgers. We have seen this one before, though, and nothing is ever real until the ink hits the paper. With Gausman and Gray off the board now, their options are slim. They are slim, and they have to push. The alternative will be Ray. If they don't get Scherzer, they'll turn to Ray, I would think. But they don't really want to lose a draft pick. Land says 12 minutes until glory happens, and we can all go to sleep. Man, you better be right, or we're gonna send you back to the future. Not to be lame, but that was lame. I could do better than that. You know. Yeah, so Gray is off the board. He signed with the what's going on? Here's from Andy Martino. Mets are hopeful on Scherzer. As of this minute, still don't know. Aha. Or Mark Feinstein, why the crazy rush of deals this weekend? Multiple executives believe that if deals aren't agreed to by tomorrow night, it's unlikely they can get complete with physicals, language, etc. by Wednesday night when the CBA is set to expire. Could be a crazy 24 hours. Also, we got trades. You never know. There might be some trades happening too. This is like almost like a second trading deadline that we're dealing with. So it's going to be interesting. Now, I would mention that I don't know what I'm going to do for tomorrow. I really hope that the Mets get this deal tonight. This deal done tonight. Because like I said, I really don't want to have to. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could do a live stream in the morning, and I got to work a little bit later, so I won't be able to do a live stream if tomorrow until 7:30 because it's going to take me time to get home from work. And there's been a horrific traffic on Long Island. It's been really bad this past weekend, and really last week too. But we'll see. I mean, I'm gonna have something on the channels. I was hoping to do a video on Jeff McNeil on the other channel, but obviously this thing with Scherzer takes precedent, and this is the main channel right here, and I have to sort of do what I have to do here. It's very important. But hopefully we'll have some stuff going on. I hope. You know. But let me post this. This is a tweet from Joel Sherman. So this is from Eddie Wilkes. The Mets are making progress with Max Scherzer. I've not heard of it as final. Deal might be as much as 4 years if it gets done per Joel Sherman. Keep our fingers crossed. You know. But the thing with Andy's been on this, believe that. He's usually wrong about all this stuff. He never has any scoops. But he says the Mets are hopeful on this. We'll see. But like I said, Max Scherzer's not a weirdo. He's a solid guy. He's not a guy that's, flaky. He's not Trevor Bauer. He's not going to pull the rug underneath the Mets. Yeah, Nito's pretty funny. He's pretty good on Twitter. He really is very entertaining. Very, very entertaining. Speaking of entertaining, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. I know I've gotten awfully quiet because I'm trying to save my voice a little bit, and obviously, we're going to be waiting this out. This announcement will probably happen in the next hour and a half, so we're going to be on for a while. But then again, it might come out after 12. Who knows? You know. Nito was teammates on the Puerto Rican team with Baez and Lindor. He played with Lindor. In high school. Yep. Eddie Wilkes. Yeah, somebody mentioned that earlier. Oh well, you got 7 minutes. 7 minutes. What's your name? You got 7 minutes to get this time travel explanation done right. Or we send you out. Land, you better get this right. You got 7 minutes, Land, to get your prediction right. 7 minutes. So ran at 10:32. Well, it's getting awfully close to the end here. You got 7 minutes now. Hopefully we'll have an answer in 7 minutes, and I can just sort of finish up and say thank you. Thank you. I don't want to talk about that subject. Thank you. Yes, from Joel Sherman. Again, throwing cold water on the Mets. I'm surprised the Mets are in the game late with Scherzer. Last week, every executive and agent I asked said he'd go to the West Coast team. Still could happen, but the New York Mets have party crashed into serious competition. Again, the strong expectation is this is settled no later than tomorrow. God, please let it be tonight. Let it be tonight. Tonight. Yes, from Doug Rush. Who's Doug Rush? Staff writer at the Giants Wire. The Mets and Max Scherzer are gaining traction on a deal getting done. The Dodgers are not optimistic on keeping him. Steve Cohen and Billy Epler are working to get it done. Who's Doug Rush? Oh, he works for USA Today, Pro Sports Extra, Rampo College, New Jersey alum, the Giants Wire. So he's reporting the Mets are gaining traction on a deal. I don't know who he is. Yeah, Scherzer's going to be a big deal. It's trending where I am at on Twitter. Twitter's meaningless. Stroman's also trending on Twitter, too, by the way. And the Yankees, too. Nobody's talking about the Yankees. What the hell is anybody talking about? Are there any Yankee channels on? What the hell are the Yankees doing? But again, like I always say, when the Mets win, the Yankees lose is a good day. When the Mets win, the Yankees lose is a good day. That's all that matters. So. So again, please like this video if you haven't already, and we're going to keep going until we have some kind of resolution. So we're gonna be on here for a little while longer, and then it's probably going to take a point where I'm going to have to get up and walk around. Anthony, this is Steve Cohen's chance to make the rest of baseball fear him and think they have another Steinbrenner on there. You're looking at it too weird. That's weird take. You got weird takes, Anthony. I got to say. I appreciate the way you write, but boy, they fear him. They're not afraid. And all those guys have money like he has. He just has more money than them. That's right. We got 4 minutes left, Hand. You better get this right. Is Hand still in the chat? I think he went back to the future. 4 more minutes. Because either he's right or he's just full of it. Might be a little bit of both at this point. But again, please like this video if you haven't already and subscribe. Let's hope that this deal gets done tonight. Because then I'll have to get up earlier than I normally would. Especially if it happens during the night. You know. Who cares? Who cares at this point? Because the Mets for all these years, not for nothing, Anthony. All these years, the Mets have always taken a backseat to everybody, and it's good to see that they have an owner that is willing to spend the money. The best thing that ever happened was that the Salt Cats' family didn't want to take uh, any kind of control of the ball club. Um, so the Mets are very lucky that they were able to make this deal to get sold, and they got a guy that has the most money in the game. You know, and I mean we deserve this. I mean I don't normally say people deserve this or deserve that, but we've taken a lot of abuse from a lot of areas for a long time. Um, and it would be nice to be able to spend the most money to get the best players and hopefully win a World Series. I want to see the Mets win one more World Series in my life. And I'd like to see some younger fans get a chance to win. And I like to see some of the old timers, especially a lot of old timers that come in here and get angry at me. I'd like to see them win, so they can have some like nice things to talk about, and smile a little bit. Um, it would be nice to win again. It's been a long time, so I mean, we kind of deserve this. Ernie LeBar, Hut, go to bed, and it will happen to me. Right, that's what happened on Friday. I went to bed and they signed Marte. I was so pissed. I went to bed at 11 o'clock. I was wiped out. So I worked all day. So uh and I got up like an hour later just to get up, just to wake up. And they signed Marte. I was like, what the hell, man? And Chris Torrey, any updates? Let's see. The Mets are making progress. Let's see, we got something new. From Ken Rosendahl. Ding ding ding. Growing indications that Scherzer is headed to the Mets. Sources tell at The Athletic. New York Mets making progress, per Joel Sherman. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. I'll put this up because he's subtle. So we're now, it looks like it's going to happen. And you won't see me crying. You will not see a host crying that they signed him. And if they didn't sign him, I wouldn't have been like destroying anything behind me. I really have no words at this point. I've said enough in the last all night. Isn't that right, Coolio? It's happening. Look, it's 10:32. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. 10:32. 10:30. This guy came awfully close, didn't he? That guy, where is he? Where is this guy? He got awfully close to. He was a little off on the time. He was off by 2 minutes. All right. Here's from Mark Feinsand. I'm told the Mets are making a hard push for Max Scherzer, though one source described the situation as fluid, with other teams still involved. If Mets do indeed go to a fourth year, as Joel Sherman suggests is possible, that could get it done. I want to get something to drink, and I don't want to leave. I should probably leave now and come back. Hold on. I'm going to be back in a second. I got to get a drink because I've been talking for a few hours. Hold on. I need a drink. I'll be back in a minute. Hold on. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. I had to use the bathroom too. When you sit in one spot for 2 hours, when you gotta go, you gotta go. Now, please like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Now, I will. Let me check because I'm in the middle. Somebody just texted me. Let's see. From Andy Martino, growing industry expectations. Scherzer goes to the Mets. Other teams falling out of bidding per sources. Not done. Not a done deal yet. So we're getting awfully close. Coolio, top notch. Did the time travel say what year and uh say what year and time he came from? I'm formally requesting his ban until that date. No, he did not say that. Coolio, he did not say that. They are not saying that. Look, all I know is that that the Mets are getting close to doing something big here. This is going to be huge. You know. Uh, this is going to be a big deal for us and a big deal for the Mets to do this. Um, so no, I did not do that. Look, I've been sitting here for 2 hours. What do you want from me? You know. Let's see. It's more Twitter. Message from John Harper talking Scherzer with EMAC SNY 11. As I say, Mets Twitter is sweating this one like no other. I'm not going to watch. You want to watch something good? You want to listen to this show and watch this show because I'll tell you like it is. I'm not doing a narrative that the media does here in New York. From JoJo 218, if they get Max, then we need Stroh. Well, Stroh is not coming here. Stroh is going to be out of here because if the Mets are serious about winning, you don't want him here. And not for nothing, JoJo. Stroman's been going on tour complaining that the Mets are racist for not signing him. This will shut up Stroman forever. Stroman will never complain about the Mets signing Scherzer. You don't want Scherzer back. He is a cancer. He's a cancer. So. Now, please like this video if you haven't already. Scherzer's going to get, from Z Subtle, Scherzer's going to get one hell of a standing ovation at Citi Field on opening day if he signs here. Well, that's true. From Anthony Cohen is highly motivated to get this done after the bow crap last year. And too, with this whole thing with Mats, too, From Greg Zeman. If the Mets get Mats, all the free agents will want to play for the Mets. That's the point. See, that's the point about bringing in Scherzer, is that you're able to sort of bring in all these other guys, seeing how serious the Mets are, and the seriousness is also in the money too, obviously. So if you sign a guy like Scherzer, and you go the extra mile, it sort of sends a message to everybody. The Mets are very serious about doing something big. And nobody's going to be talking about. No, Scherzer's not a candidate. I meant Stroman. I meant to say Stroman. Sorry. It's been a long day. But it's Stroman. I mean, it's a bad guy. From Mark Feinstein, it should be noted that although Scherzer liked his time in Los Angeles, he and his family make their home in Florida, so the idea of signing with an East Coast team could be preferable. The Mets train in Port St. Lucie, which is about a 30-minute ride from his home, and he lives in Jupiter. Yeah, I meant to say Stroman is a problem. He's a head case. People. I mean, the players they absolutely love um, Scherzer as a teammate, and he's serious about winning. He's serious about winning. Eddie Wilkes, Steve Cohen, and Billy Epler signed all free agents left. Well, most of the good ones are kind of gone. From Aaron, Matt's made Cohen mad. He did. The agent pissed him off. And I guess this the guy is not used to like losing. People made fun of him when he got mad about. Matt's isn't that good to get mad over. You know, you know. Just checking my feed on my phone because I can't really do it on this. For some reason I don't know. Thomas Nito, how you holding up over there? Laugh out loud. Correa to the Yankees. We've heard nothing with the Yankees. He's not getting signed by the Yankees. The Yankees aren't in on any players right now of note. They're really not. Uh, they're really not. Now, please like this video if you haven't already, and please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Just checking my phone. I got so much going on here beyond the channel here. Uh, Jeff Pazan. Jeff Pazan. I don't see anything by Jeff Pazan about the Yankees. There's nothing on here about that. He has not tweeted out anything in like almost an hour. There's a lot of fake accounts on there. The Munchkin, Ken Rosenthal has a lot of fake accounts out there too. So yeah, don't believe that. Because the word is the Yankees aren't really all that interested and sign anybody. Let's see. Just checking something out. Hold on a second, folks. Just trying to send a message to a friend of mine. Yeah, you can't believe everything you read on the internet sometimes. I know I shouldn't say it because I do the clickbait, but I do the clickbait. If you want to know why I do the clickbait, I do the clickbait to get attention to the channel, obviously, and plus I'm not on camera. Everybody wants to be on camera. I don't want to be on camera, so that's kind of what I just sort of. That's why I do that stuff. Yeah, I mean Correa wasn't going to the Yankees anyway. I mean, he's just the Yankees aren't interested in bringing any like big players on. They're not interested. You know. From S. O'Rourke, the Scherzer family is sitting at a table with Max, looking for approval from his fam. Well, this is a big decision. Coming here to New York is not for the faint of heart. And either you're all in or you're not in. So you can't be sort of halfway. From Ken Rosenthal, the real Ken Rosenthal. Possible Dodgers could lose both Max Scherzer and Corey Seager. Rangers remain in mix for Seager, sources tell at The Athletic. Already have reached agreements today with Marcus Semien, Cole Calhoun, and Jon Gray. Trevor Story also possible if Rangers cannot get Seager. Wow. So I would assume they put Seager at third, or maybe they put him at short and have Semien at second. Let me take a look at the Rangers real quick. Because the Rangers have actually been in it. Eddie Wilkes, the clickbait you do is hilarious. It is. And people get so pissed. You guys don't get pissed because you guys are used to it and you know it's just to get attention. But they get so, I mean, the newbies come in and they flip out. And they all try to give me advice that I'm never going to get. They compare me to one channel. So, well, you're never going to be like him. I say, I'm my own person. Why would I want to be somebody else? I had one guy tell me that I should be arrested. When I did the clickbait video on the Baseball Hut 2 on Starlin Marte, that they were going to sign him to a 4-year, $85 million contract. He got $78 million. I came awfully close to getting that right. I got the years right, and I was a little under the money, but I got awfully close to that number. And he said I should be arrested. I should be arrested for doing it. I didn't know that was a crime. And then I've had, and I wrote back to him. I was like, well, the Mets got him. And then he started complaining about the Trevor Story clickbait video, which was a great video on the other channel, by the way. I had to block him on both channels because let me tell you something. I had one guy write to me. The language was disgusting today. I had to block him on all my channels. And I went at him, and I don't normally leave a comment on somebody else's videos. But I told him what I thought about him. So the Rangers are not very good. Rangers are not good at all. So they need a lot of help offensively. Semien, he's going to be a big deal. They're going to push Isaiah kind of falafel off a shortstop. I wonder what he's going to play. And they bring in Story. It's going to be interesting where they move him around. It's not a very good team, the Rangers. They're really bad, the Rangers. They'll go from 60 wins to maybe 75 wins with these moves. But I do see Kershaw going back to the Dodgers, or going to the Rangers at this point. LOL. Good night, everyone. Honestly, I'd rather get surprised when I wake up, so I'm going to bed. Well, good night. And you're new here, so I want to thank you for subscribing. As Z Subtle says, kind of falafel could stay at short for his defense and play Semien at second and Seager at third. Randy Fernandez. What's up, Hut? It's my 30th birthday today. Well, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Hopefully you get a good birthday present. Max Scherzer's pretty good. That's a good birthday present. Yes, good night, LOL. LOL. Happy birthday, Randy. Hopefully you get everything you want this year. Hopefully we'll get Max Scherzer this year. And maybe tonight. Please let it be tonight. Please. Let it be tonight. Tonight. Let me refresh my feed. Just checking my feed. Now, please subscribe. In the meantime, I had a lot more energy in the first live stream than I do now. A lot of people sort of confirming on certain things. From Pat Ragazzo, he works for the Sports Illustrated. Hearing around the industry that it's looking like Max Scherzer will be going to the Mets, but no deal is final or done yet. Wow. Ron Wilson, 4 years too long for a 37 plus year old pitcher. Well, you might be right. But it's the thing is about him. Don't look at it as a 4 year deal. Look at it as a situation where the Mets they put some money in a player that is a Hall of Fame pitcher that he will bring in other great players. That other great players will come and see what's going on with the Mets and say, look, they signed one of the best players in the game, one of the best players in the history of the game. We want to go here because the owner will give us more money than any other team can give and sign to. Also, it gives them credibility. This team needs credibility. Um, and that's important. Well, Michael, I could already picture the video of Scherzer saying the pop of a cold beer on a sunny day in the ballpark, and then flip between the Dodgers and Mets jersey, and then says, "I'm proud to be a New York Met." Well, we'll see. I don't think he's going to be doing that. He's a pro. S.O. Rock, the Scherzer signing will do far more for the franchise than just his on-field performance. There's a major direction change. Right. That's the thing. Here's what happened with Pedro. See, Pedro, we had the Wilpons. The Wilpons screwed up Pedro's body in the first year. They made him pitch when he wasn't healthy. Okay, he says that. So because of that, they kind of like screwed up everything to where he got hurt in 2006. So the whole point is Scherzer's coming into a different situation, basically the same situation. Mets need credibility. He provides it. So even if you get one great year out of him, this sets the stage for other great players to come in here and want to sign here when they're free agents. It lifts a cloud off the backs of the franchise and off of us. You know. Let's see. Yeah, nothing new yet, but hopefully we'll have something fairly soon. Uh, so it's not just about the 4 year contract. It's about more than that. It's a lot more than that. From John, this is important. It is a game changer. We got no one in the minors. There's not one addressing the second and third order effects are huge. There we go. There we go. He usually has all the stuff. From John Morrissey, Max Scherzer and the Mets are close to finalizing a multi-year deal. Source confirms. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, great. Credit to Ken Rosendahl, Joel Sherman, Mark Feinstein, Andy Martino for reporting key details of Scherzer and the Mets today. So it looks like it's going to happen. And we're online now talking about it as fans. And this is good. This is good. Randy, that's true about Mad Max signing, given the Mets credibility. But if it's a 3 to 4 year deal, $40 million, wouldn't that affect the team from getting other? No, it wouldn't. Not with a guy with that much money. I mean, this changes everything. I don't think this hurts the Mets one bit. This is all good. There's nothing really to complain about. This is great news tonight, and I'm very excited about it. I think you're all excited about it too. So now we just wait and S. O'Rourke, Mets have the deepest pockets now. This is the kind of thing that made us excited about Cohen. Yep. And he wants to win, and he loves the team. He's a fan. The family love the team. So they're very much invested in what happens here now. We knew the Wilpons were invested. They wanted to win, but they didn't have the money, and they were always screwing shit up. You know, Jeff was a screw up. You know, as simple as that. I mean, Jeff was a disaster, unfortunately. Um, and we'll see. Matthew Land, I've never been this excited in my life. Let's get this done. Kenneth Flood still annoyed. Won't believe until I see it. Well, you better believe it soon. Fantasy Sports Revolution. This was the pitcher to get Mets needed to make this move. Let's not even talk about. I mentioned just the Wilpons because it's a different era now. They're always screwing up everything. And hopefully, with the Cohen going in, I did mention that there is still some dead weight in this organization still. And there's a reason why it took them a long time to find a general manager. And it wasn't just because the city is a disaster. It's also a lot of other things. So they needed to sort of, and I would mention Epler. It was so important that the Mets brought in a general manager that had experience, to where they brought in a general manager that had experience, had contacts, um, and was able to make this move. This is a great move. This was a move that needed to be made, and now we're in the end zone now. A little while ago, like an hour ago, um, we kind of just sort of didn't know what the deal was. I wasn't sure what was going to happen tonight. I figured I'd come on and do a live stream, tonight, especially when news started coming out. But Epler has done a great job so far because he has experience. That makes a big deal. Hmm. Please like this video if you haven't already. Let me just see. Andy Martin. I'm not putting this on. I'm not watching SNY. More information on the Mets and Scherzer than I can fit in the tweet live on SNY at 11. Yeah, but we're almost at the end zone. From S.O. Rock, Marte Escobar and Kana had to be like, hell yes. Chris Torrey, breaking news. I'm not reading that. What the hell are you coming up with this? Why would you do that? That's not very nice. That's not nice. All right. Here's from Joe Sherman about Robbie Ray. Teams pursuing Robbie Ray include the Tigers, the Twins, the Giants, and the Angels, and keep an eye on the Rangers. They are very aggressive in this market. Now, I would say, there's another pitcher mentioned with the Mets, and we don't know who it is because they said that early in the evening when I started this live stream, and really the prior live stream, that the Mets were going to get um, that if they get one of these pitchers, that there was going to be another pitcher attached. So please, I got the TV on at the moment, but we'll see. So does anybody care about the football? Can we get the Scherzer, please? Nobody cares about the footballs. It would be a free agent. It wouldn't be like a Castillo. Everybody, off of Castillo. That's not happening. Eddie Wilkes just got notification from MLB app saying the Mets and Scherzer are close. S.O. Rourke. Say it again, Hub. What do you mean another pitcher attached? Well, there was word early in the evening, especially when I did my first live stream, that the Mets were going to either sign Scherzer or Gausman between now and tomorrow, and there was going to be somebody else. Hold on a second. Let me just listen to what Andy has to say. Yeah, Andy didn't say anything that we didn't already know. I know what the hell they. I don't know why they even say this. All that I can't say everything in a tweet. He basically said everything in the tweet. He's such a dope. He didn't say anything different. He's such a schmo. He really is. I tell you. I don't even know why I watched. All right. Here's from Joel Sherman. Starling Marte is a terrific player, and if the Mets get their way and Scherzer, he becomes an appetizer. I guess that makes Kana and Escobar amuse Boucher. Sorry, I've been so busy I haven't eaten since breakfast. You know, who's still delivering? It's going to be fun to sort of get to the point where the Mets can talk about Scherzer pitching for them. But let's sign him first and see what happens. From what Andy did say, that they're offering over $40 million a year. So he's going to be the highest paid player in the game and the highest paid pitcher in the game. So, I mean, they did say last year that they would go out of their way to sign guys to a higher, annual salary to get the right guy in here. This is the right guy to go out of your way to make a big deal for. A guy like Bauer was not the right fit for the Mets last year because of just the fact that he was weird. He was just a weird guy. Um, and Scherzer, like I said earlier, he's a serious competitor. There's no fooling around. There's no messing around with him. He's a guy. He's just a great player, and he's serious about winning. He's serious about competing. He's serious about being a professional. I mean, Tom Steve always talked about, when he was doing the broadcast with the Mets, about doing the job right, doing it right. This goes back to Gil Hodges doing the job properly. Being professional. Doing what you have to do to win, doing what you have to do just to compete. You know, and this guy is all that. And what does he have left in his career than this? This is a big undertaking. Don't kid yourself about any. Cohen and Sandy said this when they hired Epler last week. that this is a job that is a very difficult job. This is a very difficult job in a very big market, and it's not for the faint of heart. You have to be tough to do it. Now we're gonna see if Max comes here. Is he gonna be tough enough to handle the pressure? Now he does have Degrom in the rotation, and Degrom is probably salivating watching this, thinking, "Oh my God, I got another guy in here that's probably greater than I am. There's a greater pitcher than me." It takes a lot of pressure. It takes a lot of pressure off of him. They both take pressure off of each other. You know. Now, obviously, with his age, it's going to be an issue, and down the road, it's an issue now, but he's still productive. You know, and we'll see how this all plays out. But this is very exciting news. I mean, this is fun to see, and it's fun to deal with it. And hopefully, we can sort of, hopefully this is the stream that this happens. Hopefully this happens tonight. Let's see, any refresh? No refresh yet. But Mets are getting close. So it's probably gonna be a 4-year deal, probably 160 million, I would think. 40 million a year. That's a big contract. But he has the money. Not gonna worry about him getting involved with Bernie Madoff, some kind of scam. Um, and we'll see what happens. This is something, you know. This is some big contract we're talking about. And Eddie Wilkes, the Giants were in on Max, but they had a low-balled offer. Well, when you get 40 million every day, I mean, really, at $40 million, you can't say it's a low-ball offer. That's for sure. You know what I mean? But we're gonna have fun time. Don't mind me changing the different thumbnails I have on here. I'm just trying to. I have to create like some new thumbnails for this channel, especially for one of the main videos. I got to take main thumbnails. I got to take Noah off the thumbnail. But I got to add some years to this. This is the 2000 team right here. This is the 2006 team right here. I got to add 86. 86 has to come up. I got to get 86 on here at some point. I put 2015. But we're gonna. This is very exciting. Eddie Wilkes. I don't know how much they offered, but someone from Morty NLYM said it was a low ball offer. The Mets are offering for over $40 million. So how are the Giants lowballing the offer to Scherzer if the Mets are offering over $40 million? That's stupid. That's ridiculous. That's a lot of money. That doesn't to sneeze at. What team can match that money? I mean, really. Here's from Mets MLB trade rumor. Trade rumors. The Mets are nearing a multi-year contract with Max Scherzer. MLB Network's John Morrissey writes, based on multiple reports from earlier tonight, he may be on the verge of signing the largest average annual value deal in baseball history. As SNY's Andy Martino tweeted that the Mets are offering more than $40 million in an average annual value. Scherzer is represented by the Boris Corporation. More to come. Oh boy. Here we go. From S.O. Rourke. This move is so Steinbrenner-esque. It's absolutely awesome. I mean, George-esque, not the Steinbrenner family. They're kind of cheap. And when they sign players, they sign Jared Cole, who we're finding now can't handle it here, which I think is hysterically funny. It's hysterically funny that he can't handle it here, and he's making all this money, and all they do, all the Yankee media people, including the people that follow the Mets and both the Yankees and all the media people say that Jared Cole is better than DeGrom. That's comical. He gets one vote for a Cy Young, and they all bug out. saying that he's better than DeGrom. They start changing the baseball. They start cracking down on the gloves and all the sort of the spite attack, and and Cole starts bugging out, starting bugging out about him not being able to throw the baseball the way he wants to. It is funny to watch it because he was like he he didn't know what to do. And now WFN's kind of reporting it too. I read you from their website. Reports Mets hot on Max Scherzer may have offered 4 years or $40 million annually. Wow. Mets are prioritizing starting pitching after a Black Friday shopping spree netted Starling Marte, Eduardo Escobar, and Marcana, and it appears that they may be close with one of the biggest fish in the starting sea. He's the big fish. He's the big whale, white whale. According to Joel Sherman of the New York Post, the Mets are making progress with Scherzer, blah, 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 blah. SNY's Andy Martino, blah, blah, blah. Scherzer's agent, Scott Boras, also represents Carlos Rodon and Yessi Kukichi, so there could be some traction on those hurdles as well as if the Mets make good impression on Scherzer's negotiations. Well, we'll see about that. Let me check out UC. From S.O. Rourke, that that was priceless. That I mean, really, that press conference was something else. Because he didn't know what the hell to say. He had no clue. He didn't know where to take it. All right, Yessi Kikuchi. You say is his nickname. He was with the Mariners. He was 7-9 last year. He's 15.24 overall, 4.97 ERA. That's very high, especially in this day and age. 362 innings. 30 years old. All these pitchers are 30, except for Max. And it wasn't really anything that Andy said that was anything, he didn't say anything that was really, earth shattering. Nothing earth shattering in those comments that he said. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Now, it might be quiet because I'm kind of looking at my phone here on the side, trying to see what the hell's going on with the Mets. Checking some emails too. Some people have been emailing me tonight. What the hell are you talking about? Dan Caselli. I haven't heard from you in a while. Where have you been? I had good news. They're making Chancadiles now. I don't know what that means. What the hell does that mean? I have no idea. I have no idea what this guy's talking about. No offense. What the hell are you talking about? Please like this video if you haven't already. Yeah, somebody sent me like a nasty comment. What the hell are they sending me a nasty comment for? SO sounds like a chocolate crocodile. Yeah, that's what it sounds like, but I don't know what the hell he's talking about. It's like a reference to something I should know about. You know, he makes it seem like this like an inside joke about something. I have no idea what he's talking about. No offense, you know. No offense to Dan, and Dan's a good subscriber. You know, but any tweets? No, nothing right now. It's gotten awfully quiet. Maybe that's it for the night. It's been pretty crazy here for the last 3 hours. I wasn't expecting to be on this late since 8:30. I didn't expect to come back on. You know, but I'm really glad that everybody came back. Some people came back from the live stream from earlier. To do live streams this long, I'm surprised I'm still holding up. You know, and of course, please like this video uh, and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. I will be doing stuff again. There'll be videos tomorrow. What it'll be about, I don't know. Hopefully, we'll have something. Um, S.O. Rock, you appreciate. Well, thank you, Eddie Wilkes, best live stream in the world. Well, I wouldn't go that far. You know. I mean, really, I mean, I do the best I can. I mean, I don't want to be on. I think I said this earlier. I don't want to be on camera. I don't feel comfortable on it, and I just sort of like sitting in my house and just you know just shooting the breeze with you. I like talking to you. Um, I mean, I really just, I mean, really, I see. I'm not big on talking to other live streamers. I mean, I'm good at interviewing, but I have such a weird schedule. I never know when I could do it. And a lot of times things change at the last minute for me, and you know, and plus I do a lot of preparation when I have people come in here and want to do like a live stream. So I like to do like an interview. If you follow me on the Comic Cut, I do great interviews. I did an interview with Pete McCarthy back in April and in February. Uh, you know, um, you know, I mean, I like doing the interviews, but the interviews are very different than say, live stream with other streamers. Because a lot of times, with these streamers, 5 or 6 people in a live stream, and if you're in the live stream, there's a long time where you don't talk. And I feel, that's why I don't have too many guests in here at a time. It's usually one or two guests on, and a lot of times, um, you know, I'll have like a few guests on, but usually the most guests I've ever had on is two. Because I feel like if you have like 5 or 6 people in a live stream, somebody's not going to get called on to answer questions. And you know, I want to make people feel left out. And I've been on live streams with 10 people, and you feel left out. And I think that's weird. I know that YouTube promotes that; they want that to be part of the culture, but I really don't like doing that. And here's the thing about the baseball stuff. Some of the bigger channels, they don't do like live streams. They do their videos, they recorded videos. Like Giraffe Neck Mark. He doesn't do live streams on his channel. He'll be a guest. He'll be a guest on a show. But he doesn't do live streams on his channel. I think he does stuff on Twitch or whatnot, but he doesn't do much on YouTube. You know. So Dan Cassell, just making a silly point like all these writers saying how close the Mets are to signing Scherzer. I hope I'm wrong, but it's nonsense until it happens. What do you want them to do, Dan? I mean, really. You know. I mean, what do you want these guys to do? All right, here's a little more traction on Andy Martino with the Mets. According to two sources, the Mets offer is for about $42 million per year over either 3 or 4 years. Wow. Also from Andy. I know everyone wants to know if they can go to bed, but the team has not yet heard Scherzer's decision yet. So he's mulling it over. So yeah, so the offer for Scherzer is $42 million. Wow. That's even more than they offered Scherzer. I mean, offered Bauer. Wow. Mets offer for Max Scherzer was about $42 million per year over 3 or 4 years. Wow. The Yankees said, only right I trust is John Heyman. John Heyman got a lot of stuff wrong last year. He said the Mets were going to get George Springer. They didn't get him. It wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. He was wrong on a lot of stuff last year. You know. Right. Absolutely. I'm gonna have to do a thumbnail when the season starts for the next year. I have to do a thumbnail. I'm gonna have to do a thumbnail where I have Max in there. So we'll see. So please like this video if you haven't already. And Ernie Labar, the Mets bidding on Scherzer by themselves. I don't think so. I mean, it seems like they've outbid the teams. I think it just, it seems like that the other teams don't seem to want to reach that number. I can't see the Dodgers doing that number. They didn't do that with Bauer. You know, when you get up to that amount of money, you're going to be outbid. You're going to be bidding against yourselves anyway. You know, that's for sure. Uh, from John Morrissey, everywhere in free agency. I'm told Robbie Ray is not close to a decision. His formal meeting with the Angels, the top suitor, has yet to take place. The MLB trade rooms is pretty good because they're like a hub, a resource for everything. Eddie Wilkes, next year, would you give DeGrom more than the Max Scherzer amount? I'm not worrying about that right now, and it's not my money. I don't know about that. Well, we'll have to see. It depends on where, uh, what happens. So I'm not really thinking about that, and nobody else should think about that right now. Uh, you know, just turn my phone over. Somebody's texting me to pain in the neck. What the hell she's texting me for? Doesn't text me all day. She's got to text me now during this live stream. So late. Sorry for the silence. It's getting late. Um, let's see what's going on with the Mets here. I don't know why she texts me this stuff so late at night. SO wrote, this ordeal is taking me down to 9% battery. Well, you better plug your phone in. Plug your phone in. No, what are you? You're probably laying in bed with your phone. Plug it in. The hell are you doing that for? That's not too smart. Plug your phone in. If you can't plug your phone in and watch the show, and listen to me yap and reading the chat, that pacing. Don't be pacing. You know, plug the phone in. Let me just hold on a second. I mean, plug your phones in. It's not worth it. You want your phones to die? I got my phone plugged in. See, my phone, my phone actually uh, powers this live stream, so I had to plug it in. It's at 79%, and it was at 50 something before. Ernie LeBar, this is like waiting for your baby to be born. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to be on this live stream too much longer. That's for sure. And this live stream is probably going to end in about a half hour. Okay, you know. But I mean, we're going to talk more about this obviously tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have news in the morning. If it happens in the morning, we'll see what I can do. But like I said, I'm not getting out of my job until 5:30 tomorrow, and I won't be able to get home. Hopefully, no later than 7. So, you know, so we'll see. Hopefully, we'll have some news in the next half hour. I hope, and then we can end the live stream and we can sort of talk about this going forward. LLL won't go to bed. What type of managers making deals at 12 a.m. and what type of players accepting contract? Well, Stephen Matz, I mean, they kind of mentioned it, last week. That whole thing came down 12:30 at night, 12:30 in the morning. So that does happen, I guess. And you don't know where Billy Epler is. He might be on the West Coast. Yeah. Jose Reyes posted this. Max Scherzer, please. Jose. Jose's funny. Uh-oh. This is getting to a point that this is getting dangerously close to a Bob Nightingale tweet where he screws up everything. They better get this done soon. Now, please like this video, of course, and be going till probably 12 o'clock, I think. That's when I'll end the show tonight. The show's been going on for 3 hours. It's pretty good. And I did a show earlier. Didn't think I'd be on this late at night. And here's the thing about my show. I have no guests. So I'm just doing this and talking to you. And shooting the breeze with you. I would also say this, that I'm not going anywhere. So I'm not going to be a person that's going to take a powder for like 4 or 5 months and then come back and pretend to be, like nothing happened. Okay, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to do like random videos during the baseball season, and do a live stream and act like nothing's going on. I'm not going to disappear on you, like some other channels do sometimes. I do consistent content. I do weekly live streams. Tonight was only gonna tonight really. I mean, really, I've been doing live streams every Sunday at 4:30. I've been going for about an hour, hour and a half, and I've been able to sort of do that over the last few weeks. And the channels, that both live streams this today have been great. And I've been doing the baseball hut too, and I was very happy with the way the channel went last night on that. On Saturday nights. Saturday nights will be the regular night for the baseball hut too, and obviously on Sunday, I'll come on at 4:30 and do this channel. Uh, I'll do this channel on a Sunday for you, and you also have to keep an eye out for videos. And if there's breaking news, I feel like coming on a live stream, I do it during the week. I'm doing a lot of live streams over the last few days because obviously there's been a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff going on with the Mets. But don't expect me to sort of disappear and then come back. I'm not going to do that. So you know, don't expect me to say, well, you're not going to hear from me. You'll hear from me on a regular basis. Because I love talking about the Mets and I love talking about baseball. John Calorie, you got to get us through the strike. It was not technically a strike. It's a lockout, a freeze, okay, a work freeze. So it's not so much a strike. A strike's when the players do stuff. You know, it's funny. I was planning. I kind of have a plan how I do the videos now in the off season. I'm gonna reveal the plan is. So, but the plan has sort of been, I was gonna do a live stream. It's funny. I was thinking about doing a live stream Thanksgiving night because I noticed that the sub count on both channels was going up like crazy. I was like, do I really feel like doing a live stream? Because around 6 o'clock, I kind of got the sense that people wanted to see stuff on the Mets, and talk about what's going on with them. I probably should have done that. But I was like, no, I'll go Friday. I was planning on doing it Friday. And we had a big night Friday with the two signings of Kanye and Escobar. So that was great. And then I did last night's stream. That worked out great. I got like 1,800, 1,900 views on there. Excellent. Um, so, everything's going really well here. Now, the reason I started the second channel is to get more content out. Because this channel, because the way I have it right now, it's sort of limited itself to one thing. And so I'm able to sort of do the other channel in a small kind of way. I can do stuff that a little bit smaller kind of things and still bring in, people and stuff. But obviously the big thing is bringing a lot of people. But it's weird, I got to say, because they come from the comic book streaming. This is totally different. It's a bigger audience. It's a much more stable audience. And since now I have a way to sort of control the chat in terms of bots coming in and trolls and just complete total assholes coming in to bother me, I have more control over what's going on here now over the last couple of days. And that'll probably continue on with the other channels, I think, to have sort of only subscribers can participate in the chat. Because I want people to come here and stay here. Of JoJo 218, this deal might make DeGrom opt out to get his $40 million. That's a possibility. It also depends on how well he pitches and if he does pitch. That's really the possibility. But so the purpose for the other channel is also to bring in some money too, because I've been trying to get a third channel monetized, and the Patriot Hut sort of is dragging. It's not going the way I'd like. So I thought that if I did a second baseball channel, and this baseball hut too is going to get monetized, just a matter of time. It's not a matter of when. Probably not this year. Probably sometime in the early part of next year. But uh, it's sort of an extension of what I'm doing here, and I don't have to rely on other channels to get myself going in terms of what I need to do here. So let's see if any update. Here's a story from MLB.com. This is from Anthony DeComo. He posted a story on their website. I'll read it on the site. After a weekend of swirling rumors, Max Scherzer and the Mets are closing on an agreement for a multi-year deal. A source told MLB.com's John Paul Morrissey on Sunday at least one part of the contract discussed was worth $120 million over 3 years, which would be a record, blah, blah, blah. Mets officials did not respond to numerous messages seeking comment. Even in signing 3 prominent free agents, the Mets left one important element of the roster unaddressed. The team's rotation, along a strength, still contained significant uncertainty given the injury history of its principal members. And so the Mets continue not just the shot, but doing so in places they've rarely treaded in the past. Any deal that brings him to Flushing would be historic for reasons beyond just money, signaling that the Mets, under owner Steve Cohen, have become a bona fide free agent destination. Scherzer, of course, needs no introduction, and he's a future Hall of Fame, but he transforms the Mets. And even if they don't get the value over the next 4 years, he changes everything. So, Kenneth Flood, nothing on the 11 o'clock news. You still watch the 11 o'clock news? It doesn't work like that anymore. You got to follow Twitter. Let me tell you, Twitter is trash dump. It's a dump. It really is a dump. But when it comes to baseball, it is great for rumors. It is great to follow baseball. I don't know how the other sports are. Maybe a little bit different. Hut, you still a comic book nerd? I never considered myself. I was always a baseball nerd, a sports nerd. I still had the comic book hut. I still, do stuff on there. I still do, customer advocacy, because there are a lot of crowdfunders that are unfulfilled, and I'm trying to get this one creator to get his stuff out on time, and he is a big pain in the ass to get it out. Big time pain in the ass to get the shit out. Makes up all kinds of excuses, can't get it out. And I'm doing my best to get him to move, and he won't budge. Son of a bitch will not budge. Trying my best, and he's just very difficult. Now he's doing all these different live streams, showing how hard he's working. He's so full of shit. Robbie hides on. He's got 600, almost 700 people in his live stream. Wow. And here's the thing about the baseball, it's much more stable. You guys are more stable to deal with. You act more like a human being. Human beings are. With the baseball, with the comic books, it's not like that. The comic books are very petulant to fans. I wouldn't say toxic, just petulant, very immature. It's very different on this side. So hopefully, we'll have some news. We got another 20 minutes, and I'm going to end the live stream. But again, if you come into the chat and you want to ask me a question, you have to subscribe to the channel. It's a new thing that I'm going to be implementing on all my channels now. I think it really cuts down on the nonsense, and it works out much, much better than it had before. See anything new? No feed, not refreshing. I think we kind of reached the. I think we kind of reached the end of all the rumors tonight. but we'll see what happens in the next 20 minutes. So, and then after this, they need another bat. I think they'll get another starter between now and Wednesday, but they obviously do need another bat. Here's something from Isaac at iTalk Studios YT. Marlins and Yankees are in talks for a trade involving Gary Sanchez. Interesting. Javi Baez El Mago. Anything on Baez? Not with the Mets. It seems like the Mets and Baez are kind of apart in terms of money. The Tigers are involved. The Rangers are involved. The Red Sox are involved. The Red Sox are involved with a couple of these guys with Story, and the Rangers are still involved with them. Where all the big shortstops, involved uh, with Seager and Story and Baez. That's an interesting thing about Gary Sanchez. The Marlins and the Yankees are talking about a trade with Gary. Interesting. Gary can't catch. I'm surprised the Marlins would want him. Mets basically out. No, I haven't heard that. It just seems like they're a little bit at a disagreement. And we saw the money that Simeon got, and he had a huge year this past year. Simeon got 7 years, 175 million. Aaron Gandhi, any more tweets? Nothing yet. I mean, it's gotten awfully quiet. I'm sure that they're working the phones. You know. The rumor is Chris Bryant will probably sign after the first. The Mariners were pretty heavy into him. Keep an eye on him with the Mets still because of this whole thing with Baez. They lose Baez, they might pivot to Bryant at the last minute. Try to move in on him, but if there's a lockout, they can sort of wait. He's going to take a long time to sign, I think. Baez will sign before Wednesday, I think. Marcus Stroman, he's kind of out. The Mets aren't interested in him now. They basically told him that the other day, and he complained about it. He revealed to everybody on Twitter that Gausman and Jon Gray, the Mets were very interested in. They were so interested they didn't they didn't sign those guys. From Randy Williams, where's Correa going? It's a good question. We've heard the Tigers. It doesn't seem like the Rangers are involved. The Tigers seem to be the destination right now. I don't know. I don't know where he's going because the Rangers were kind of in on it, and then they signed Simeon. Javi Baez Almago says Boris will take forever because of Boris. Brian will take forever because of Boris. Well, it seems that Scherzer is going to decide before the first. Chris Torrey, where do you think Conforto ends up? Conforto will sign. I haven't heard anything with him. They've been very quiet. It's all been about the pitchers, But Conforto will wind up probably at probably two teams, probably the most obvious. The Mariners, because he's from Oregon. He played for Oregon State in college, and the Phillies. We've heard the Phillies a lot. But I haven't heard anything that he's negotiating with any teams. That has not been something that we've really heard much about, or I haven't heard anything. What? Is Stroman like that? Stroman's crazy. Yeah, he's nuts. That's why the Mets are basically done with him. If he did that, JoJo, he should be ashamed of himself. I mean, really. You don't act like that when you're trying to get your services out as a professional. You don't act like that as you're a professional. Crazy. You don't do that. If he did that, that's terrible. That's disgusting. That's like something else. That's like some white guy saying the N word online. Mark Harrigan. Mark Harrigan is another guy that's a real problem. This Stroman is a nut job. Okay, I've been saying that for a few weeks. That guy is nuts, and and he's showing it. You just take a look at Mark Carrick is probably one of the worst Mets beat guys they've ever had. He's pretty bad. Let's see. See what's going on here. Yeah, Stroman's having a real meltdown online. This is crazy. Wow. Holy shit. Wow. So he used this slur. He liked this slur about Anthony DeComo. Wow. Somebody posted a tweet saying Anthony quote. I find this very offensive because I am Italian. It's a very offensive word. Anthony DeComo is a wop, and Marcus Stroman liked it. Mark Carrick tweeted this out. I get that not every player is going to like the press. It happens. But Marcus Stroman liking a tweet in which a writer is called a racist slur is unacceptable. There's absolutely no excuse for it. It's ugly. It's wrong. And yes, the meaning is awful. That's disgusting. What a fucking lowlife he is. And I guess Stroman came back at him and said something, saying that it was screenshotted, that he made it up. He did Photoshop. And Carrick goes back, yeah, I found it on Twitter and screenshotted it. What's ridiculous is that you'd attempt to make up a story about me photoshopping something. You like the tweet calling a writer an ethnic slur. Be better. So this is what he tweeted out to Carrick. This is one of many Photoshop pictures of my likes. There's others out there as well. The fact that you're passing this judgment while believing a fake picture is ridiculous. You better do some research before believing this guy. This guy is a complete total nut job. Okay, and I was saying that for the last few weeks that the Mets should stay as far the hell away from this guy as possible. And the fact that this all started because the Mets told him that they weren't interested in re-signing him. This guy is trying to get a contract with another team. Is trying to get a contract with another team, and he's acting like this. What a complete total asshole. This is what was going on in the. Just think about this kind of cauldron in that Met clubhouse. You have players disrespecting the fans on the field. You have this nut job in the Met clubhouse making up stories and liking ethnic slurs on Twitter. I mean, obviously he doesn't like Anthony DeComo. There's no like nicer guy that you see on TV on SNY than Anthony DeComo. You know, Javi Baez Almago. Why did they trade for him in the first place? Well, they traded for him because they decided they weren't going to re-sign Zach Wheeler, which was ridiculous. They should have signed Zach. There was no problems with Zach. And they brought him in here, and he acted like a goddamn fool. Excuse my language. You know, I mean, he was known as a bit of a head case up in Toronto. That he was not well liked up there for a reason, and now we see why. He's a racist. He's a disgusting racist, and like I said, he's a typical SJW. This is what these SJWs are. They're victims. They're condescending. They talk down to whoever they're dealing with, and he's probably like that in the clubhouse. You know, that's terrible. Terrible. Terrible that he's like this. I was not wrong about Trevor Bauer, and I'm not wrong about this guy either. Wow. That's just crazy shit. Let me tell you, he's got some balls on him to do that, and then to lie about it that he didn't like the tweet. You can like anything you want on Twitter. It's not a point. But when you like an ethnic slur for somebody, that's basically in your workspace. What's wrong with this guy? But that's what you get when you deal with these this sort of toxic politics. You get this weird kind of social justice where I mean I don't want to get all this sort of get involved in all this politics. I hate doing that, but it's very distressful. And it's a good thing the Mets told him to hit the bricks, hit pound sand. Now you know why they didn't want any part of this guy. And look, just think about it. The guy has to get a contract, okay, and he's acting like this during contract negotiations with teams. Instead of keeping his mouth shut and just saying, you know what, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna do my thing and let my agent take care of it. He's gonna complain about the Mets. He said the Mets were racist for not wanting him. A fantasy sports revolution. Maybe Stroman will get black. I don't think that's gonna happen. But you think he's gonna be like another Kaepernick? Kaepernick wasn't blackballed. Stroman's not gonna get blackballed. He's got talent. He's just not. He's not as good as he thinks he is. And there's a reason why the Blue Jays got rid of him. Because they got tired of his nonsense. You know. And wouldn't you get tired of this nonsense? I know I would. Yeah. S.O. Roke, what is the most expensive tweet in history? You know what? You're right. What's the most expensive like tweet? He can tell you. I mean, he's gonna lose money doing stupid shit like this. I mean, really. I mean, he's gonna lose money liking this stuff. So Stroman's gone, and thankfully, the Mets did something smart. I said earlier, the whole kind of nonsense in the clubhouse told you how bad it was in the Met clubhouse. So they moved on, and good thing they did that. There's no reason to stick around with him. Now, this other starter, I don't know who this other starter that's been discussed with the Mets in terms of who they're looking at. Uh, I don't think it's Robbie Ray. It might be one of these guys that don't have a qualifying offer too. This Sashiki guy, it's Kaziki guy, Tzatziki sauce guy, or Rodon. Yeah, Rodon might be the guy. That might be the other guy. We haven't heard much about him, where he's going to go. From Doug Rush, Steve Cohen, and Billy Epler have submitted their offer to Max Scherzer and his agent Scott Boras, which is likely 3 years, $126 million. And that's a way to hear back from him. Okay, we'll see. All right, here's from Joe Sherman. It's not a Met related thing. Teams let GMEs earlier this month believe in Scott Boras would sign his 3 big free agents before a potential lockout. Simeon has deals so with Rangers. Scherzer getting close. Belief also is that Seager will sign by tomorrow. Really? Wow. And the Rangers might pair him with Simeon. It's in play. So I guess they'll play Simeon at second and Seager at short. Seager's a better shortstop. But that's some double play combination right there. But the Rangers really did a lot. I don't know how much better they're going to be, but they spent a lot of money to make themselves much better than they've been. Who cares? Eddie. Thinking about Gausman, Eddie, is that he wasn't good enough. He was not going to handle it here. He wasn't going to handle things well here. Uh, I was not big on him. I'm glad the Mets didn't pull the trigger on that. That would have been a mistake, by the Mets. You go all in on the big player. You don't go all in on these little guys. You go big on a big guy, you know. And the big guy is Scherzer, you know. That's for sure. See, Hum Baby Baseball's doing his live stream. He's got a good channel. I like his channel. I mean to do a live stream with him. I'm gonna have to do a live stream with him at some point. I know he wants to do one. He's a big Giants fan. I don't know if you know about him. Uh, he's really good. Southern Cal Mets fan. It's only 9 p.m. Well, thank you, William. It's good to see you come back. About ready to end the live stream. Yeah, Simeon and Seager are going to be some double play combination down there. I would assume that Simeon would be playing second. I think. You know. Let's see. Southern Cal Mets fan. I am surprised how aggressive the Rangers are. Well, the Rangers, I would point out, they don't have taxes. There's no taxes in Texas, so they can sort of offer slightly more, or even less than other teams because there is no tax down there. So that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Um, again, I want to go back to this. I wonder where Carlos Correa is going to go. I don't know if he's getting the money that Lindor is going to get, and he's probably a better player than Lindor overall. So I wonder where he's going to go. Um, Especially since the Rangers aren't interested in him. There was talk about him going to the Rangers. Doesn't seem like he's going there. Uh, would he go back to Houston? That's a good question. They do have an offer on the table for him, but he rejected it. So I don't think he's going back to Houston, Alan. Tremont Production. What's going on there, Tremont? How are you? How you doing? Where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Javi Baez on Mag. Where would Correa go if Baez goes to Detroit? That's a good question. Because that seems to be the number one place that where there's a fit for Correa is in Detroit because they really want to make a big splash too. They brought in Eduardo Rodriguez. They brought in the catcher from the Reds. So they've been active. They've been very active, but Detroit getting a Correa or Baez would be a big move for them. Ron Wilson, what would you like to see a McNeil, Dom Smith, J.D. Davis traded for? Well, you probably between the three of them, McNeil will get you the most. Okay, because McNeil's been an all-star. He's been uh, uh, he's a guy that brings in the most in terms of prospects. Uh, he's a guy that in terms of just you know he's been an all-star. He's been a guy that's he's done a lot of stuff. Traymon's saying that Scherzer's trolling. Where's he trolling? He has a Twitter account, and he has not tweeted since September. So, but between the three of them, McNeil would be the guy that the Mets could probably get the most from. They'd have to get prospects back for him. You would want a blue chip prospect for Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil is an all star. Jeff McNeil is still a 300 hitter in his career, even with the lousy offense that he had in 2021. He is an offensive machine, and he's going to win a batting title. So the Mets, if they make a trade, have got to get at least one blue chip prospect for him. You cannot give him up for a bunch of middle relievers in the minor leagues. That is not going to work. Dom is a different situation because there is no place for the Mets to play him. The Mets can hold on to McNeil because they can play him around. Dom has no place to play here now. He can't play first because Pete's playing first. They have to keep the DH spot open for guys like Cano and to a lesser degree JD Davis and Marcana and Eduardo Escobar. Okay. So Dom can't play first. Dom can't really DH, and Dom is not an outfielder. He's a terrible left fielder. You can't play him in left field. So, where's his value on this team? He can't be on the bench. We saw how he was on the bench. He was terrible. So there is no really place for Dom to play. So Dom is, let's have no real way to get out of the situation with him. Hello, Danny. How you doing? I'm seeing you in a while. I'd still looking to buy us with an opt out if the price comes down. Well, we'll see. I'm sorry. Pete is a good first baseman. Javi Baez Almago. He's a good first baseman. You leave him at first. You want to be able to keep the Mets have done a lot of this sort of juggling with all these guys. It's time to get this lineup settled. Pete is not moving off of first. He's not getting off of first. That's not happening. I'm not a big fan of Dom's swing. I'm not a big fan of him as a player. I was very surprised at how well he played last year, but I think a lot of it had to do with the fans weren't in the ballpark. The fans are back in the ballpark. Not that I'm blaming them for that pressure putting on him, but I'm not a big fan of Dom. I've been very consistent. I don't like his swing. I think he's got a slow bat. You know. When does Pete really take off? I mean, the first year that Pete was here, he played 160 games. Pete doesn't take too many days off. Don has no position. A guy that kind of can play first, Escobar can play first on those days off, and you can DH Pete. You don't need Dom Smith on this team. And obviously, JD Davis is not a third baseman. He's not a left fielder. His offense is shaky. He's not a great fastball hitter at all. He's a guy that swings through a lot of pitches. You can pitch to him. His statistics are very misleading. You look at his statistics, when he's playing, they're not very good. They're very good, but then when you watch him on the field, the result isn't great. So, like I said, I'm not a big fan of, I said it again, I'm not a big fan of Dom. Jeff McNeil will burn the Mets, but that's why the Mets have to get a blue chip prospect. At least one blue chip prospect to get him back, to get something in return for him. Because McNeil will win a batting title. He's going to have a year where he plays 150 games, and he's going to win a batting title. And I'm not just saying that. I believe that. I've seen enough of his at-bats. He's a batting title champion down the line. So I am not, under any kind of illusion that and McNeil has played himself off this team just with his lousy attitude. Greg says this: Is there a chance McNeil plays second and the Mets go for more pitching? Well, there's always a chance of that, but I think kind of they've sort of focused in on bringing in a good, character guys, good clubhouse guys. Um, and the thing is that they got rid of, again they got rid of Stroman. They're not bringing Mike Conforto back. They kind of moved away from, got rid of Kevin Pillar, who was part of the whole thing with the thumbs down. They got rid of him. They brought in character guys. So it kind of sort of, like I said, they have to find a team that's willing to give up at least one blue chip prospect for McNeil. This team has no outfield help at all, other than Khalil Lee, but he can't hit the way he should. Um, they have really no infield help other than the three infielders of Vientos, Beatty, and Mauricio. They only have two big pitching prospects. One guy is going to be coming back sometime in the middle of the year at the Tommy John. The other guy is 2-3 years away. So the Mets need to sort of trade McNeil for somebody that is going to be a big player. He's, trying to figure out where you could put McNeil, where you could trade him. I don't know. For Ernie Labar, Dom is like Gary Sanchez. He's allergic to defense. Dom is is a very good defensive first baseman, but he doesn't hit enough for the position. Gary Sanchez is not a major league player. Gary Sanchez should go back to the minors. He's just not that good. He is a terrible player. He is not a major league player right now. He's a terrible major league player. Let's all be honest. Gary Sanchez is a terrible player. And the Yankee fans and the Yankee media fool themselves in thinking that he's any good. He stinks. He's terrible. He's horrendous. He's not amazing, spectacular, terrific. He's the opposite of that. Complete total opposite of that. He's no good. He's not any good. Let's be perfectly honest. He's a terrible player. You don't really mean that, a comic cut. Yes, I mean it. It's terrible. He's terrible. The guy had that one, he had that good run in the beginning of his career, and he's been living off of that. His defense is terrible. He made a play against the Mets. He didn't cover the plate. The guy didn't cover the plate. The runner bear down on him, and he did not even make an attempt to tag the player out, to tag the runner out. Keith and Ron were beside themselves. He barely touched the guy. The guy slid underneath Gary Sanchez. He barely moved to tag him out. He didn't even make an attempt to tag him out. Gary Sanchez, you throw a pitch to him and he gives up a wild pitch or a pass ball. Southern Cal Mets fan. Yankees fans must be losing their minds right now. Absolutely. They have lost their minds having to deal with not being able to sign the players they've signed in the past. And the fact that the Mets are willing to spend $42 million on Max Scherzer. That's the stuff that George used to do. And they're not even making an attempt. They're not even making an attempt to do it. That's the unbelievable part. Yes, so please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. I was going to quit a few minutes ago, but we'll go a little bit longer. We'll go to 12:30. So from Greg Zeman, Matt Noah and Lupa losing him. I mean, really, Noah's probably thinking, "What the hell did I leave for?" I think Noah kind of left. They gave him more money. I think that's really the number one reason why he left. The Angels gave him more money. I think that's really. I mean, he mentioned, uh, you know, Javi Baez Almago. Is that play worse than Pirates first baseman Jason Baez towards? No, that is no. Nothing beats that. Nothing. You don't have to run Baez back to home plate. How stupid was that? How did he get him to? How did he fool that first baseman into making that play? I don't know how he did that. Baez is a great base runner. He's very smart. He is fun to watch. I mean, I will say this: the Mets made a mistake signing Lindor. They should just waited a year, just to sign him. And the Mets made a big mistake with that. Obviously, the bad contract. He can't handle it here. Um, so that's why the Mets brought in Escobar too. Escobar and Marte. They're strong guys in the clubhouse, and they'll help him out. But boy, that's a bad contract with Lindor. Ernie Labar. Sanchez dropped a boatload of pop fouls too. He's a bad catcher. I mean, we've seen some great catchers here in New York. Gary Carter was a great catcher. I'm not talking about his offense. I mean, he was a great, great catcher defensively. We didn't get to see it much. I was going to Baseball Reference, and one day I was just looking through all the great catchers in the past. Uh, didn't still kind of going through Baseball Reference, and just curious as to see where some of these catchers were ranked. Mike Piazza's ranked high. Carlton Fisk is ranked very high. Uh, Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge Rodriguez is very high. Yogi Berra, obviously, Bill Dickey. And of course, the number one guy in terms of wins above replacement is Johnny Bench. So I was curious. So where's Gary Carter on this? And Kidd is number two. According to wins of Baseball Reference and wins above replacement, Gary Carter is the second greatest catcher of all time, based off of the wins above replacement. And if you think about it, he's kind of placed in like the middle, because for like 30 years, we've seen three great catchers in the National League. The 60s and 70s, you saw uh, Johnny Bench. Then you got Gary Carter there, who's in the middle, and then Mike Piazza. Gary Carter's like is kind of gets sort of maybe kind of forgotten, because Johnny Bench is the all-time greatest, and Piazza's the greatest hitting catcher. But people don't realize how great of a defensive catcher Kid was. Now, when we saw him here in New York as a Met fan, he didn't have his arm anymore, but he had a gun, and he had 3 Gold Gloves as a catcher. And you didn't really get a chance to. We didn't get a chance to see how great his arm was. He had a great arm in Montreal. And he just burned it out. You know, when the Mets got him, he was so great offensively in '85 and '86, and to a lesser extent '87. But he had a lot of injuries in '87. But '85 and '86, we saw how great of a player Gary Carter was with Montreal, and how motivated he was. Makes 2682 defense. Pudge has to be up there. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of Rodriguez, to be honest with you. Not the biggest fan of his. He was good at throwing runners out. He was very good at that. But I'm not a big fan of his, to be honest with you. He's a steroid guy. You know, the guy played, and then when they started cracking down on him on the steroids, the guy got very small very quick. He lost a lot of muscle. He lost a lot of muscle. That's for sure. You know. Lost a lot of muscle on that body. Yes, Pat Cole, I'm still here and I'm still alive. Been going for almost 4 hours now on this live stream. Shocked. Uh, yeah, I don't know where Explosive D is. He hasn't been around much. Hasn't been around much. Been streaming all night. I did 2.5 hour live stream, and now I'm back doing a 4 hour live stream. I can't believe I'm doing this. But welcome, user. What about Todd Hundley? Fuck Todd Hundley. No, fuck Bob. What about Todd Hundley? Todd Hundley was another steroid guy. He's named in the Mitchell report. You didn't know that. He is in the Mitchell report. Todd Hundley was a fan favorite. I like Todd Hundley a lot, but he's nowhere in the class of Gary Carter. He's nowhere in the class of Mike Piazza. And that's not a knock on Hundley. It's just a fact. And when the Mets have always been good, they've always had a very good or great catcher. You know, Jerry Grody, Gary Carter, Mike Piazza. Mets haven't really had a very good catcher over the last many years. And I was not a big fan of Darno, by the way. And still am not. Maisie, can you find a more obscure catcher? Most of my audience doesn't know that. Didn't he pitch? Didn't he catch for the A's? I think he caught for the A's, right? That's about as like obscure of a catcher as you're gonna find. SRO Hundley hit bombs that 1 year, 2 years, and in '96 he hit 40, 41, and then in '97 he hit 30. And a lot of that was a byproduct of steroids. Most of it's steroids. Because when he came up, he couldn't hit at all. He couldn't hit a lick. He was known as a defensive catcher. Then he started bulking up, and then he started hitting home runs. I don't think the Scherzer thing is going to happen tonight. I don't think that's happening now. I don't think it's going to happen. Sorry, guys. We're probably going to have to do this again in the morning. We'll see. But I think I'm going to end the live stream now because it's been going a while. I don't think it's going to happen now. I think we've sort of reached the end here, I think. How much more can I talk about the Mets? And I would say I want to thank a lot of people coming in here. I've been able to hold the audience really good tonight. I'm very happy with that. I really don't expect it to happen tonight. Now that we've gone this far into the live stream, almost 4 hours, I really don't expect them to make them. I don't think it's going to happen tonight. I think a lot of this will happen probably tomorrow. I think probably by 9 o'clock in the morning, we'll have a pretty good idea of where Scherzer's going. I think the live stream's probably coming to an end. Ernie LeBar, who's the Mets pitcher? Who's the Mets catcher who couldn't throw the ball back to the pitcher? Oh, that's easy. Mackey Sasser. Mackey Sasser. The guy was like a big guy. He didn't have any power, but he had a good arm. He had a strong arm, but he couldn't throw back to the pitcher. He would tap his glove like a million times. A million times, man. Javi Baez Omago. By the time it's done, Javi already signs, and we'll see. I don't know. I don't think there's gonna be any more news today. I mean, tonight this was a big night. I haven't heard anything new on Scherzer, so I'm gonna expect that we'll find out in the morning. I don't think there's anything more I can sort of discuss here, to be honest with you. If I have any news in the morning, and I'm home at 9 o'clock. I'll try to do a stream. I don't know. But I really don't expect anything to happen. You know. FBS, is the deal done yet? It seems like they're getting pretty close to it, but they don't have like a final decision. I think that Scherzer's kind of like he's probably gonna sleep on it. You know, you know. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's getting close to being done, and I think we're getting to the end here. You know, with this whole thing with Scherzer. You know, I think that's. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. Uh, but we'll see. I mean, you know, I can't keep doing. I can't keep streaming much longer because I am getting kind of tired here. You know, it's been a long day for me, and Mig 2682. People are tweeting Scherzer's a Dodger if we go to bed. Please don't listen to that stuff. You know. Okay, so I'm gonna end the stream now. I think because it's getting late, and I gotta go to bed. Gotta go to bed. I can't keep doing this. This has been a long night for me, and we're going for what 2.5 hours, 6.5 hours streaming. That's crazy. I've never done that before. Hopefully, I don't have laryngitis in the morning. That might happen because when I had the live streams, and I had a sore throat the next day. When I was doing live streams for the trading deadline, I was a little verklempt the next day. So hopefully, I don't have any problems talking tomorrow, just in general. But yes, so this has been a great live stream. It's been a very great day. Had a lot of people come on the channel. Had a lot of people on the other channel. I didn't do any videos on the other channel. I didn't get a chance to. This thing with Scherzer takes priority over everything. So, again, I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank you all for coming by, and I appreciate you watching the live stream. I appreciate you watching the videos, taking the time to do all that, and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. And we'll be back in the near future, probably tomorrow, either in a video or a live stream. We'll see if I do a live stream tomorrow night. There's a good possibility that I might do that. I will be streaming on Tuesday, probably on this channel, and we'll do some content on the other channel to get it going. And I want to thank you all for coming by. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Let's keep our fingers crossed on Scherzer. I think we'll get some good news in the morning. And thank you, and I'll see you later. Have a good night.